Navams Shrirupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। श्रीमतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वशास्त्रादिपीयूष सर्ववैदिकसत्फल सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाद्य सर्वलौकिकदृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतो प्रभु कलिदन्तोतितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्ष अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेवाय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते मद एक बंधु मद संगेन मद गुरुन् मद महादन मद निस्तारक मद भाग्य मद आनंद नमोस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अचिनीचो तथाकरहा नामुच्च कदाचिन्मा प्रेम न हृत्कंठयो स्फुरः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. Please turn on your video cameras. So I'm not just speaking to a wall. So if possible, please turn on your video cameras. And let's get started. We are in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto. We are going to discuss chapter number 19 today, right? And today is, it's like fun. It's like, we're going to read about the fight. So it's just like a fun story, and we have so majority of the chapter is just discussing about this fight between Hiranyaksha and Varahadev, right? Okay, so what have we discussed till now? So in chapter number 18, we basically saw that how in chapter number 18 starts off with how Hiranyaksha, he actually criticizes Lord Varaha, right? And he says like, he was looking for Vishnu because who had told him that, his best a person who would be like really would have that power to fight me is actually Vishnu. Who actually said that? Varuna.
Varun.
Right, Varuna. So he went in the water, in the oceans, and then he found the presiding deity of the oceans, Varuna Deva, and he said like, no, I am too old to fight with you. If you really want to fight, go find Vishnu. And if you fight with Vishnu, then you'll be lying on the battlefield. That already indicated. That means you'll be dead. And then after that, he said, okay, where can I find Vishnu? And Narad Muni said, oh, he's in the Garbhodak ocean. He's just lifting the earth. And then he went towards the Garbhodak ocean to find Vishnu. And then finally, when he sees Vishnu, he sees the form of a boar and says, oh, Vishnu, I was looking for a challenge, and he's in the form of a boar. And he says, oh, amphibious beast, just like a beast, like an amphibian. You know what? This is like, like he was expecting, like, oh, Vishnu will be there and someone. And he said, oh, amphibious. And he actually criticized the Lord, and he said, like, you cannot take the earth. This is actually given to us. How can you take the earth, right? And then he criticizes him by using the words like vana gocharaha, that you are actually one who actually reside in the forest or in the water, right? And then you're just like an animal. And he uses different, you're just agya, you're just fool, you're the lowest of all devatas. And in my presence, you cannot take out the earth. So he makes so many points of criticism, and we discussed in the last class how all those criticisms are acharyas make it as a glorification of Varahadev. So it is so beautiful how our acharyas take every word and they actually make it as a glorification of Varahadev. And then Varahadev, he was actually pained by these words, right? He was actually just like we read that how like sharp weapons, like shaft, like by the shaft, like abusive words. It was just like it pained his heart. But then he actually replied and he actually said words that were actually criticizing Hiranyaksha, but the Acharya actually make that as glorification, right? Because if we consider the words of Hiranyaksha as glorification, that, oh, he is Jaya and Vijay glorifying the Lord, then certainly the Lord also has to glorify him for his nice words. So we see how the Acharyas make that when Varahadev is actually criticizing Hiranyaksha, that also the Acharyas actually make it in form of glorification of the devotee of the Lord. And after that, the fight begins, and we just read a little bit of the fight, how Varahadev, he actually took his mace and he went to hit the Lord. But the Lord actually just escaped that. Just like how, anyone remembers the example? The comparison is so nice. Just like a yogi escapes death. Similarly, the Lord actually escaped the hit of the mace. And then the Lord actually took his mace and then he struck the Hiranyaksha on his right side of his brow. Right? And that way they were like striking each other. And they were striking, and it was so intense that actually blood was coming from the body of both of them. And we discussed like how even Varahadev, blood may appear from his body, but that blood is just like, it's not like a blood coming out like how we have, bleeding. It is a blood just to make the pastime more exciting, that the internal potency has arranged the blood so that it makes it like, oh, yes. The Varahadev is also feeling that mood of like, yes, he's fighting. Let me fight back, right? And when this fight is going on, then Brahmaji actually comes and he sees, he's amazed by the power of Hiranyaksha. He says, wow, how unprecedented power Hiranyaksha has. But then tells the Lord, please stop playing with him. Why? The auspicious Abhijit Muhurat is coming to an end. And then the evening time is coming, which is actually a more favorable time for this demon. So please stop playing and you just kill him. You just finish him off, right? So that's where we stop, right? So now we'll start with chapter 19. So this chapter, a majority of the chapter we'll be discussing is the fight, right? And yeah. Okay, so let's start 3:19:1.
Maitreya Uvacha Avadharya Virinchasya Nirvyalikamritam Vachaha Prahasya Prema Garbhena Tad Apangena So Grahid. Maybe Divya Mataji can start translation.
Madhuri, what verse is this?
This is chapter 19, text 1.
Text 1. Give me a second, please.
Everyone can hear me, okay?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes. 19 text 1, right?
Yes.
Sri Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the Creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love.
Okay, so sorry. So text number 1, right? So we see in this, Maitreya Rishi is actually saying, and he actually uses the word Avadharya. So the Lord, after hearing Virinchi is one of the names of Brahma. So after hearing the words of Brahma, where Brahma actually said that, don't play with him anymore, just kill him, right? So after the Lord heard these words, and two qualities are actually used to describe these words that he actually speaks. One is Nirvyalika. That means he's free from all sinful purposes. And second is Amritam, nectarian. And one may say, why is it described that these two the words that Brahma spoke has these two qualities? It is free from all sinful purposes, and second is nectarian. I mean, he just came and he said, like, Lord, you should just the auspicious time is getting over, just kill him. So why are these two words actually used? And then it says, further it says, Prahasasya. Prahasasya means the Lord, when he heard these words, heartily he was laughing. I was like, why is the, I mean, it wasn't like something that, it just seems like he just asked him to kill. Why is the Lord laughing? Right? And he agrahit, he accepted the words. And then how did the Lord respond to him? So beautiful. It says, Prema Gandhena, with laden with love, apangena, with a glance that was laden with love, he actually accepted the words of Brahmaji. So Prabhupada actually stresses on this word, that why is Brahma's word said to be nirvyalika, right? Free from all sinful purposes. And Prabhupada gives a point in the purport, basically saying that how the demigods, when they make their prayers, what is the motivation, the intention behind their prayers? Their intention is yeah, go ahead. Someone saying something?
I was just going to answer your question, was to
Yeah,
serve
go ahead.
Vishnu.
What was it? Can you repeat?
To serve Vishnu. To serve
to serve
God.
Vishnu. Yeah, okay, yeah. So the demigods, when they offer their prayers is for the purpose of pleasing the Lord, to actually please Vishnu, right? And hence, so when Brahma offered the prayer, the Lord accepted it, and he smiled and he said, "Yes, this is it." And then demons, when they offer their prayers are always with some sinful motivations, right? And we have like so many examples of demons who actually offer prayers. And they may pray personalities like Brahma and Shiva, but what is the intention behind the prayers? Like, what is a perfect example for this? The perfect example for this is Vrikrasura, right? Imagine, like, he was praying Lord Shiva. And how was he praying Lord Shiva? He was cutting parts of his own body and offering to sacrifice. And then finally, when it came time, he was ready to cut off his head to offer as a sacrifice. And then Lord Shiva himself came. And what was the boon he asked? He said, give me the boon that if I put my hand on anyone's head, the head will crack into so many pieces, 1,000 pieces. And what kind of boon is that? Right? So when they actually pray, their prayer is actually with sinful intentions. And here actually it brings about the point about the intention behind our prayers. So practically in our sadhana, what is really important is the intention. Like how in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada makes this statement: the progress of a sadhaka depends on the attitude of the follower, attitude. Based on his attitude, he makes progress. Based on his intention, he actually makes progress, right? So we may be saying similar prayers, but if intention is not pure, then the prayer is actually not pleasing to the Lord. So gradually, when we are saying our prayers, when we are chanting around, we should focus on, why am I chanting? What is the intention behind my doing this? Is it just as a matter of duty? Is it just out of fear? That, oh yeah, I should do it, otherwise something bad will happen. Or is it just like, okay, my guru asked me to do it, I'm doing it out of a matter of duty. Okay, that's also like a better level than just fear. But finally, it should come like, okay, I am chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra just to give pleasure to my guru and to Radha and Krishna. Right? So the intention behind our activity is so important. So Prabhupada talks about it. So Brahma's intention was not sinful. His intention was pure. Another point that we can say, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually makes, that why we say Brahma's word is truthful? Because he clearly said that, Varahadev, I myself gave that boon to Hiranyaksha. I mean, like, if someone is against the Lord, and if you have given him the blessing to have the power to be against the Lord, one way it is for a devotee, it is not like a very favorable thing. It's like if someone is blaspheming the Lord and you actually come and give him some facility to continue his blasphemy. That means you are taking the side of a demon. But Brahma was just honest. He said, I gave him the benediction. So hence he's become powerful. But you stop playing with him, you actually kill him. So those truthful words of Brahma, Lord was pleased with those words. Right? Okay. And then the other one, why does it say it was filled with love? It was Amrita. Because the Lord also responded with Prema Garbhena. Right? Why was it Amrita? Because when Brahma was saying this prayer, And why was the Lord also laughing, right? So what is the mood here? When Brahma was saying this prayer, he was actually thinking that, Hiranyaksha is so powerful. And out of love, he was thinking that, please kill him soon. Otherwise, he'll hurt you, my Lord. You know. Like no one can hurt the Lord, right? So the point is, just like how we see in Vrindavan, which is actually the extreme example, how Mother Yashoda, right? What is her mood of Krishna to Krishna? Oh, if I don't feed Krishna, he'll be hungry. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he be hungry? Right? If I don't chastise him now, then he'll become more and more naughty. So I have to chastise him. Right? I have to tie him to a motor. Otherwise, he'll go and he'll do more mischief everywhere. So that out of that love is actually covering the knowledge of that devotee that this is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Brahma, when he said those words, his words had that mood of that, oh, Lord, please kill him. Otherwise, he'll hurt you and I don't want to see you hurt. So hence, even the Lord was appreciating the words of Brahma that is filled with love. Since the Lord, and the Lord was smiling and thinking that out of prema for me, one can lose all memory. And Brahma is actually instructing me, right? How Mother Yashoda is instructing Krishna, right? So Brahma, as the Lord is thinking, Brahma is instructing me. I am the personification of time. And and he's actually telling me, this is the right time, please kill the demon. He's instructing me, but that's out of a mood of love. So even the Lord actually laughed. And then he actually laughed in the sense that he also accepted this. And he said, I will play a little more and then I will actually kill the demon. So I'm not going to follow your words, but I appreciate your love. But I'm going to play more. I like to play more because I came just to play this, enjoy this Veer Rasa. So I'll play more and then I will kill the demon in the evening time. So that's nice. So that is the whole mood here, right? Okay, so that's the point. And then Prabhupada also, in the purport, he talks about how kamestasya rita jnana prapadyante anya devata, that those who actually, their intelligence is lost because of material desires, they are the ones who actually worship the demigods, right? So we see how the demons, they are mudas. They normally worship who? Brahma and Shiva, right? We don't hear of demons worshipping Vishnu to fulfill their ulterior motives, right? Why? Because if they worship Vishnu, actually, normally most of them are against Vishnu and they want to fight against Vishnu. And on the side of Vishnu, the demons know. Wherever Vishnu is, then there is a religion, dharma. There are the brahmanas, there are the sages, there are the devotees, the demigods, they're all on the side of Vishnu. So hence they'll never approach Vishnu. And if they approach Vishnu by any chance, then they'll get purified. But anyway, so they don't. So they approach Brahma and Shiva. And they ask for some material benediction, right? But then Prabhupada also says, Antavanta tu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam. They are actually alpamedasam. They are not very intelligent because they are actually approaching Brahma and Shiva for what? Something which is very temporary, right? So hence they are not very intelligent. Okay, so that's text 1. Then we continue to text 2. This is okay. These words are really nice. Truthfulness. Why is it called truthful? Why is it called Amrita? And why did the Lord laugh? And how he is actually accepting that mood, right? So anyway, I gave the example of Mother Yashoda, but that's the extreme mood of devotion, right? So we cannot compare devotion of Brahma and Mother Yashoda, but at least that mood, just to explain the mood, that how out of love the knowledge is covered, I mentioned Mother Yashoda as an example. Okay, text 2.
Tatasa patnam mukatash charantam akuto bhayam jaganotpatya kadaya hanab asuram akshajaha.
The Lord who appeared from the nostril of Brahma sprang and aimed his mace at the chin of his enemy, the Hiranyaksha demon, who was stalking fearlessly before him.
So from now to all the way to 26, mostly it is a storyline. How the fight goes on. There's not so much to explain. And there are not so many purports also. But I'll just make a few points in between, but mostly it's like a storyline. So we see in this verse, tataha. So it is nice in this section how we can try to understand a more deeper meaning of the verse by going word to word, right? I always like to do that, right? So if you see in this verse, tataha means then, right? So what happened in between? Well, Brahmaji told the Lord to kill him right away, and how the Lord responds. So that episode happened. But then going back to the fight, right? Going back to the fight, Sapatnam, the enemy, Mukhata in the front, right? And so let's start. Tataha, then Akshaja, we'll start with the word Akshaja. Akshaja is one who is actually born from the nostril of Brahma, Varahadev, right? He Utpatya, he sprang up, Gadaya, with his mace, right? And Hanau Asaram, Jagannath, so that means he actually aimed at the chin of the demon and he struck the demon with the mace, right? Sapatnam Makataha, the enemy who was right in front of him, who was Charantam, Akuto Bhayam. So here it's nice to see how the word Akuto Bhayam is actually used for Hiranyaksha. And why is Hiranyaksha Akuto Bhayam? I mean, we actually say the word Akuto Bhayam, one who is free from fear, is only who? We say only a devotee can be free from fear because he has the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-powerful Supreme Personality of only a devotee can be fearless. Abhay Charanar Vindare, right? Prabhupada's name. Abhay Charan, right? So Abhay, he's free from fear. A devotee can be fearless. But here, why does it use Akuto Bhayam for Hiranyaksha? Because he had that boon from Brahma. And he was thinking that, oh, I have received this boon, no one can kill me. And hence, he was fearless in his fight. Right? So, hence the word. Okay, so text 3. So we'll just maybe do Sanskrit wise. So read the shloka. And then,
Sahata tena gadaya vihata bhagavatkarat vighurnita patadreje tat adbhutam iva bhavat.
okay, so Sahata Tena Gadaya, the mace of the Lord, he actually, the Lord took the mace and he tried to hit Hiranyaksha. But then Hiranyaksha he actually stopped it with his gada. And then it says Vihata, Bhagvat Karat. Karat means the hand from the hand of the Lord, Vihata, that mace actually slipped. And then Vigrunata Apata, whirling, it was actually whirling like this, right? The whirling going on. Reje Adbhutam, and it looks so amazing. Like imagine the Lord is actually hitting with his mace, and all of the mace of the Lord itself slips. And then it's actually twirling around. And just the scene was so adbhutam. It was shining and twirling around. Let's read the translation.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Struck by the demon's mace, however, the Lord's mace slipped from his hand and looked splendid as it fell down whirling. This was miraculous, for the mace was blazing wonderful. Hare Krishna.
So you can imagine, like, see, Brahma and all the demigods are looking at the fight. And, the demigods, oh, Vishnu has appeared. And then Vishnu is using his mace and his mace falls off. And one say like, oh, what's happening? Vishnu is supposed to win, right? So, okay, let's see. So text 4.
Satadar labda tirtopi nabhade nirayudham manayam samride dharmam vishvakshenam prakopayan.
So tada. So tada is again. So after that, what happens? So tada is after. So tada labdha tirtha. Labdha. Like labdha means having that excellent opportunity. So Hiranyaksha has his mace, Varaha's mace slipped from his hand. So Hiranyaksha having this labdha tirtha, an excellent opportunity. Although Hiranyaksha had that excellent opportunity that he was with a mace and his opponent was not without a mace, na badhaya nirajyudham. He did not attack his opponent. And why? And he says, Manayam sa mride dharmam. That he was actually understanding the dharma. He was respecting the code of combat in battle. Right? So even in this, like even in Mahabharata, we read about this. That when a person has, and he's using some weapon, whether there's a bow and arrow or he's using a sword, and his opponent is actually without that weapon, he will actually stop and say, pick up your weapon and fight. I will not kill you. I will not fight with you without weapon. Pick up your weapon and fight. That is the code. We want to be equals, and then in that, I want to show how I'm more powerful, right? So here he actually, respecting that code of combat, Hiranyaksha, he did not hit him. And then what happened? And it says Vishwaksenam Prakopaya. I mean, even this word Prakopaya you may see at other places. Vishwaksena referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This actually made Prakopaya means he actually made the Lord angry. It's like, why is the Lord angry now? Like he has this opportunity, the mace is in Hiranyaksha's hand, but he is actually respecting dharma. So Lord actually became angry that he has this excellent opportunity to hit me, but he's not making use of the opportunity. So even the Lord became angry that, oh, I need to do something, right? So Vishwanath Chakravarti says, because you know that I'm in trouble by making my club fall by the strength of your arms, you display your sense of dharma and do not strike me. See, in a moment's time, I will take this club. I will take the club along with your life. I will take it and finish it off. Okay. Text 5.
Good. We didn't read the translation. Lapanga Manjula Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Mataji. Even though the demon...
No, fifth.
Fourth, right, Mataji?
No, correct. Fourth. Yeah, go ahead.
Even though the demon had an excellent opportunity to strike his unarmed foe without obstruction, he respected the law of single combat, thereby kindling the fury of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah. So what does it say? Gadayam upper. Okay, text 5. Sorry.
Gadayam apavidhayam hahakare vinirgate manayam asatadharmam sunabham chasmarad vibuhu.
Okay, so Gadayam apavidhayam. So as the mace of the Lord fell, what happened? Hahakare. Hahakar, like we must have heard this word before. Hahakar means all the demigods and Brahma who were watching it, they actually became alarmed. There was a cry of alarm. What is happening? Vishnu is supposed to defeat the demon, but here it appears that Vishnu is getting defeated. So there was this Hahakar. And then Manayam Ashata Dharma, the personality of God, he acknowledged, oh, you are a demon, but you are actually taking the side of Dharma by following the rules of conduct, right, during the war. And then Sunebhyam Asmarat Vibhu. And then what did the Lord do? He actually invoked, he remembered and invoked the Sudarshan Chakra. And how beautiful Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, to this verse, he actually makes the point that how is it possible that the Lord's mace can fall away? I mean, unless the opponent is of equal power, it's not possible that the Lord's mace can fall away. And this actually shows that the opponent cannot be anyone other than a devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, who else, demon, can be so powerful that the Lord's mace will fall away? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually makes another very sweet Rasika point here. And he says, why did the Lord's mace fall away? Because the Lord likes to be defeated in the hands of his devotees. So sweet, right? The Lord likes to be, he accepts that, oh, I want to show how the devotee is actually more powerful than me, because the devotee is actually, the Lord loves his devotee so much that he wants to give credit to the devotee, right? Your mercy is more than me. You actually go and spread Krishna consciousness, right? How Prabhupada actually make this point, that how one disciple asked Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could have spread Krishna consciousness all around the world. Why did he not do that? And Prabhupada said, humbly, like, he actually left that task for us. He left it for Prabhupada. The Prabhupada, you take the credit, you spread Krishna consciousness. So the Lord likes to show that his devotee is greater than him because he loves his devotee so much. So similarly here, the point of the mace falling is only possible. It shows this mood of the Lord, how the Lord is actually, Lord is actually controlled by the love of his devotee. And he takes pleasure in being defeated by his own devotee. Right? Is there any other examples we can think of where the Lord likes to be defeated in the hands of his own devotees?
Bhishma Dev.
Yeah, Bhishma Dev is a good example, right? Yeah, that because Bhishma Dev wanted to see that today he actually took the vow that today Arjun will be killed unless the Lord actually breaks his promise and he picks up a weapon. And the Lord had to break his promise just to fulfill the desire of his devotee. To actually say, more important than my vow is actually the word of my devotee, the desire of my devotee. And the Lord broke his own promise. So, yeah. Okay, so text 6.
Translation.
Translation, text 5. Sorry.
Prabhu, question, please.
Actually, Mohananda Prabhu is next on the list, and then Priyanka. Yeah.
I have a question, Prabhu.
Okay. 1 minute. Let's read the translation, Mata. We'll come to your question. Okay. Mohan Prabhu, just read translation. Text 5.
Hare Krishna. As the Lord Mace fell to the ground, and cry of alarm arose from the witnessing crowd of gods and rishis, the personality of Godhead acknowledged the demon's love of righteousness and therefore invoked his Sudarshana disc.
Yes, Mata.
Discuss.
Prabhu, the Lord is always possessor of the opulences. So how is that I mean, of course, Jai Vijay, residents of Vaikuntha, how is that they have like equal power, like?
I mean, see, we make the point that yes, the Lord is the source of all strength, right? So, but for a devotee who's connected with the Lord can give all the power to the devotee.
That's the point.
That's the point, So that's why the Lord can. What's
Just
that?
because he wants to fight, so he will empower that person with his strength.
I mean, like even if you consider like how Jaya Vijay, like the associates of Vaikuntha, they have the four-handed form as the Lord. So one way the Lord is actually giving his own opulence to his devotees so that they can have a nice mode of like exchange. Okay. Okay, text 6.
Tam Vyagrachakram Diti Putradhamena Swaparshada Mukena Vishajamanam Chitra Vachotad Vidam Kecharanam Tatra Smasan Swastite Mu Jahiti. Actually, it's Pratana Mataji next. We're at text number 6.
Yes, ma'am. As the discus began to revolve in the Lord's hands and the Lord contended at close quarters with the chief of his Vaikuntha attendants, who had been born as Hiranyaksha, a wild son of Diti, there issued from every direction strange expressions uttered by those who were witnessing from airplanes. They had no knowledge of Lord's reality, and they cried, "May victory attend you! Pray, pray dispatch him! Play no more with him."
Okay. So basically here it says Tam Vyagra Chakram. The disc was actually revolving in the hand of the Lord. And Vishajamanam, it was as if the Lord was actually playing with that disc. When the disc, like how a child plays, he may have like a ring and he plays with a ring, like with his finger. It appeared that the Lord was playing with the disc. And Diti Putra Adhamena, right? So that son of Diti, who was Adhamena, means who was actually a wild or a vicious son of Diti, Swaparshada Mukhena. Now, it is very interesting. We used this word before also, Parshad, like how we say Hari Parshad. Right? Parshad means what? Who is actually an intimate associate of the Lord. Right? So, Vishwanath Chakri Thakur, he makes the point in this. He actually says, because Chakra is a symbol of Vishnu. So when Hiranyaksha, right, saw this, when Hiranyaksha saw this, then somehow he had the remembrance that, oh, this is actually my Lord Vishnu, even though he's in the form of demon. But anyway, so the point is, Swaparshada, so his own associate, Mukhena. So when his own associate has now appeared in the form of a demon and who was right in front of him, then, and the chakra was revolving in the hand, then Chitra Vacha Atat Vidham. Atat Vidham. Vidham means those who did not know about the reality of Varahadev as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they did what? Chitra Vacha. Vacha means words, or they made some strange expression. They were witnessing from their airplanes and they made some strange expressions. And then they said, Swasti te amam jahi iti. Oh, may good fortune occur to you. Please kill him. Right? Please kill him. So those who did not have knowledge that, oh, this is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, or they were covered to recognize Varahadev as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they actually said, oh, may all good fortune be upon you. Please kill him right away. 7.
Satam nisham yata ratangamagrito vyavastitam padmapalashalochanam vilokya chamarsha pariplutendriyo rusha svadanta chadam adashach shvasan.
Hare Krishna. Translation. When the demon saw the personality of Godhead, who had eyes just like lotus petals, standing in position before him, armed with his Sudarshan discus, his senses were overpowered by indignation. He began to hiss like a serpent, and he bit his lip in great resentment.
So if you see these verses, in the previous verse, what was mentioned? Swaparshada. In this verse, what is it mentioned? Padma Palasha Lochana. I mean, there's a fight going on, right? Why are these words actually mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam? To actually tell the reader again and again that yes, this is a fight going on, but this is not an ordinary fight. This is the Lord experiencing a special kind of rasa, Veera rasa. He's actually experiencing and getting pleasure of the Veera rasa. So hence here it says, Sir, that demon, Tam Nishya, after seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was armed with a Sudarshan disc standing right before him. Vyavastitam Agrataha, standing right before him. Padma Palashan Lochanam, his eyes just like lotus flower. Like imagine this is actually saying the Lord. So it's saying even Varahadev, though in the form of boar, it says eyes is like lotus flower, right? And then what happened to the demons seeing that Sudarshan Chakra? It says Amarsha Paripluta, that his senses were overpowered with indignation. And Swashan, he was hissing. Swadanta, teeth, right? With his teeth, he had like biting his lips in anger, and he was like hissing, like in anger mood, like, oh, the Lord is here, and he has a Sudarshan Chakra. I want to like kill him, that mood of anger. Okay, next day.
Karaladamstrashchakshurbyam sanchakshano dahaniva abhiplutya swa gadaya hato sityahanad dharim. Rajprabhu.
The demon who had fearful touch stared at the personality of God.
Prabhu, we cannot hear you clearly.
How about now, Prabhu?
How
about now, Prabhu?
Yeah, now it's good. That's good.
Okay. The demon who had fearful tusk stared at the personality of Godhead as though to burn him. Springing into the air, he aimed his mace at the Lord, exclaiming at the same time, "You are slain."
So, yeah, so the demon had Karala, right? We hear this for Hiranyak. Karala Damstra. He had fearful tusk, and then Chakshurbhyam Sanchay Dahan. And he was like staring with both eyes as if he wanted to burn the Lord. He saw the Lord with Sudarshan Chakra and he was like so angry. And then he took his mace and he attacked the Lord because now the Lord has Sudarshan Chakra. So he had another weapon. So both have weapons. So he actually said, and he said what? Hataha Asi, you are slain. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually says, another meaning for Hata Asi is, I know who you are. It's saying that the Hiranyaksha knows, I know you are my associate, you are Vishnu. I have just come to actually exchange rasa with you. Okay, 9. So as I said, these verses up to 26 is not so much purport or anything. So we'll be going quickly. The text 9.
Padasavyena tam sadho bhagavan yagya sukaraha lilaya mishata shatro praharad vataram hasam.
O saintly Vidura, while his enemy looked on, the Lord, his boar form, enjoyer of all sacrificial offerings, playfully knocked down the mace with his left foot, even as it came upon him, force of a tempest. Hare Krishna.
So Sadho, he's saying, oh Vidura, hear further what happened. And then it says, Swayena Pada, just with his left foot. So Hiranyaksha, what did he do? He attacked with his club and said, Hata Asi, you are slain now. And he almost like threw his club. And what did the Lord do? Just with his left foot. How the Lord lifts Govardhan Hill. Little finger of the left hand. Just to show how insignificant it is. Right? Little finger, I lift the entire Govardhan Hill. So just with his left foot, he actually praharat. He knocked the mace, right? Playfully. And that too says, Leelaya. So if you see these verses, though the fight is described, you see words in every verse which actually indicate how this is just a leela or just as a play, fun for the Lord. Leelaya. So he just playfully knocked the mace. And then he says, Yagya Sukaraha, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is actually the enjoyer of all yagyas. Right? When Varahadev appeared in the previous chapters, how did the demigods actually pray to Varahadev? O you whose form is the embodiment of all sacrifices. Right? So similarly here we say Yagya Sukara, enjoyer of all sacrifices. Then Mr. Shatru, with his enemy looking on, Vata Ramahamsam. Even though that mace came at the speed of the wind, so fast, the Lord easily with the left foot, he just kicked it away, right? Playfully. Text 10.
Ahachayudham adhashtva ghatasvadam jigishasi ityukta satada bhuyas tadayan vyanadad vrisham.
Right. So aha, he said, so the Lord actually said, aha, the Lord actually said, Ayudham adasva. He said, now the mace is kicked away. So he said, take your mace and then gatasva, try again. How before when the Lord's mace fell, Hiranyaksha did not hit. Right? So he was saying, okay, good. So now the Lord himself is taking them apart. Okay, your mace has fallen. Go, pick up, try again. Like in a very joking way. He said, gatasva, try again. Right? Jigi Sasi, as you are very eager to conquer me, try again. Iti, when he was Uktaha, when the Lord said this, when Hiranyaksha was challenged, Sa Tada Bhuya, then again he took up his mace and then he actually roared very loudly again to attack the Lord. Translation?
The Lord then said, take up your weapon and try again, eager as you are to conquer me. Challenged in these words, the demon aimed his mace at the Lord and once more loudly roared.
Text 11.
Text 11. Tam sa apatatim viksha bhagavan samavastitaha jagraha lilaya pratam garutman iva panagim.
Okay, so Tam Sa Apatim Viksha. So seeing that mace again coming back to him, then Bhagwan Samastitaha Jagraha Lilaya. Again the word Lilaya. Every verse that is actually a verse indicating how this is a supreme person, how this is just a Lila, how this is fun for the Lord. Right? So here it says Bhagwan Samavastitaha. He stood firmly and Jagraha Lilaya. Just like play, he caught hold of that mace. Right? And then Praptam Garutmam what's it? Panagim. Just like the example is given. Like whenever we see words like Eva, I-V-A, Eva, that means an example is that, Eva. So Lord caught hold the mace just like Garuda may catch hold a serpent. He may easily just go and catch hold of the serpent. Similarly, the Lord caught hold of the mace. Translation?
Hare Krishna. When the Lord saw the mace flying towards him, he stood firmly where he was and caught it with the same ease as Garuda, the king of birds, would seize a serpent.
Well.
Hare Krishna.
Svapurushe pratihate hata mano mahasuraha naishchad gadam diyamanam harina vikata prabaha.
Okay, so here it says, Svapurushe pratihate. So with his valor, like now he threw the mace and then the Lord easily kicked it away. And then he said, pick it up again. So now he's like his hataha manaha, his pride is now destroyed. That I threw it with so much force and the Lord kicked it away. And he said, now he's challenging me. So one way his pride was destroyed. Maha Asura, that great demon's pride was destroyed. And Vigata Praha, his Pravaha, his splendor was reduced. Na Aichad Gadam, he desired not to pick up the mace which was actually being offered by Hari himself. Translation?
Hare Krishna. Is valor thus frustrated? The great demon felt humiliated and was put out of countenance. He was reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Okay, 13.
Jagraha trishikam shulam jvalanalolupam yagyaya dhritarupaya viprayabhicharan yatha.
So Jagraha Trishikam Shulam. Shula we may know. Shula means a trident. So now he didn't pick up his mace, but he took a trident. And then Jwala Jwalena Lolupam. Actually, this trident was like as rapacious. So that means as it had like fire emanating from it. It was just like it was going to devour everything, that mace. And then Yagyaya Drita Rupaya. And he hurled it at whom? Yagyaya Drita Rupaya. Every verse, there is actually a word indicating that this is the supreme. So Yagyaya Drita Rupaya, the Lord who is in the form of Yagya, right? The Varahadev. Then he actually threw that mace at, through that Trishul, the trident at Varahadev. Yatha Vipraya Abhichan. Just like someone may perform a penance, like, because it was like fire emanating. So that's why it's compared. It's like a penance. Someone is doing severe penance, but for a wrong reason against a holy Brahmana. So that's the comparison given here. Okay. Translation.
He now took a trident which was as rapacious as a flaming fire and hurled it against the Lord, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, even as one would use penance for a malevolent purpose against the Lord Brahmana.
It's a holy Brahmana. Okay, text 14.
Tad ojasa daityamaha vatharpitam chakasharanta kad udhirna dititi chakrena chicheda nishatane mina harir yatha tarakshya patatram ujitam.
Hurled by the mighty demon with all his strength, the flying trident shone brightly in the sky. The personality of Godhead, however, tore it to pieces with his discus Sudarshan, which had a sharp-edged rim, even as Indra cut off a wing of Garuda.
So here it's a comparison given. So the trident was hurled, right? So Tad Ojasa Daitya. So that Daitya, that demon, he hurled the trident at the Lord with all his strength. Mahabhata, with all his strength, that mighty fighter, he threw the trident at the Lord. And then here it says, Chakshasa Antake Udina. And that was shining brightly in the middle of the sky. But then what did the Lord do? Chakrena Chiddata Nishata Nemina. He tore that entire trident just to pieces by his Sudarshan Chakra, which actually had such sharp rim or the sharp edges. He just like tore that trident into pieces. And the example is given Yatha as Hari Tarsha Patratam Ujitam, right? How Indra cut off the wing of Garuda, right? So the story is actually described, Prabhupada describes in the purport, that how after the nectar pot was obtained by the demigods, then Garuda, he actually snatched the nectar pot from Indradev to actually liberate his mother, who was actually in the clutches of his stepmother, right? Kadru. So his mother is Vinata. Vinata was in the clutches of stepmother Kadru. So he wanted to liberate Vinata. So he actually stole that nectar pot. And Indra, he actually saw that and he actually threw his thunderbolt, Vajra, onto Garuda. And then Garuda, he's like so powerful. What is Indra's Vraja compared to Garuda's power? But he actually wanted to like show respect that, oh, Indra's Vajra, it is so popular. Everyone talks of Indra's Vraja. I should show some respect. So he actually willfully shed one like they say one part of some places just say one feather, but here it says one wing. He just said, okay, here. And then the thunderbolt hit the wing, and then it tore into so many pieces. But Garuda just gave that just to like give some respect to Indra's weapon, right? So similarly here, it is said that just to give some respect, the Lord actually broke it into pieces just to show that, oh, okay, it's nothing, right? Okay, so next, text 15.
Is a story? Yeah, we read the translation. Is a story in Bhagavatam about Kadru and Vinita?
I don't think it's Bhagavatam. It's some of the Purana. 15.
Text 15. Vrikne svashule bahudharina hare pratyetya vishtirnamuro vibhutimat pravridharosha sakathora mushtina nadan parityantaradhiyata suraha.
So he says, Vrikne swasule bahuda. When the trident was cut into so many pieces by the Sudarshan Chakra of Hari, right, of the Hari, then what happened? Rosha pravriddha. Pravriddha is also a word that says increase. Rosha, the anger of Hiranyaksha increased. That I threw this trident with so much power, but immediately the Lord has cut. And he started nadan, he started roaring. And then what did he do? Kathora mushtina. Kathora means hard. He took his hard fist. And what did he do? Vistirnam uraha vibhutimat. He actually hit that, the fist. He struck his fist against the broad chest of the Lord, which was vibhutimat, which is actually the abode of goddess of fortune. He took his fist, hard fist, and he actually struck the Lord on his chest. And chest is where the abode of goddess of fortune. And then antar dhyate asura. That means after that, the Lord, the Asura, the demon, he antardhyate, he actually disappeared. Okay? And Prabhupada points out in the purport that how that Lord, what is the special qualification of the, what is the special quality of the Lord that differentiates the Lord from other Vaikuntha associates? That is that Srivatsa, right? The curl of white hair on the chest of the Lord, right? Kastuba jewel or Srivatsa, that is the special marking of the Lord, right? So that's where he actually hit. Your translation? Who's
Correction. The demon was enraged when his trident was cut into pieces by the discus of the personality of Godhead. He therefore advanced toward the Lord and, roaring aloud, struck his hard fist against the Lord's broad chest, which bore the mark of Srivatsa. Then he went out of sight.
Okay, 16. Any comments up to this point? It's a story up to 26 is just like we're going to read the storyline. Any comments or any points? I mean, one way you can say one point, you can say, how, like if you see any, movies, right? They want to add like so much like romance, they want to add like action, they want to, they want to add all these different mellows so that it becomes so interesting for everyone, right? They'll make it exciting, they'll make something very sad, then they'll make something very happy, all these different emotions, right? And that's what attracts people. If it's just like a plain movie, then it's like, oh, so boring. People fall asleep while watching a movie, right? But when there's so much excitement, then people get, oh yeah, there is rasa. They actually connect with the people in the movie and say, oh yeah, that hero hit that. I can hit like that. I am like the hero. They and they get rasa in that. But you see Bhagavatam, how much rasa is there in Bhagavatam? You want fighting rasa? Here, see this pastime. And if you actually visualize how Varahadev is fighting with Hiranyaksha, and they're right there, and all the demigods are watching, and how he threw the mace, and then the Lord actually, his mace fell off. The hero's mace has fallen. What will happen now? And you can actually relish that rasa. And if we actually can relish the rasa of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then all the other rasas of this material world will actually appear faint, just like a drop. And this is the real rasa. So everything is there in Bhagavatam. That's why I say, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam. This Bhagavata is the abode of all the rasa. We just have to keep drinking this nectar. And how in the 1.1.3, Vishwan Chakri Thakur says, what should be our life? To drink the nectar, and because the nectar is so sweet, we get intoxicated, we fall down, intoxicated by the nectar. Then you get up, you drink the nectar again fall down, and that's it. Our life is just that, right? That's what we have to do. We have to relish this Bhagavatam in such a way that that becomes our life. That we cannot live without relishing the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, 16. Continue.
Enetam ahata kshatar bhagavan adi sukaraha nakam pata manakvapi srajahata iva dvipaha.
So if you're like, in your mind, you're really like, in this pastime, then just by reading the sloka, you can see Shataha, he's saying, "Oh Vidura, itam tena ahata." Thus, after he struck the Lord, who is Adi Shukara, the first board, the board incarnation, na akampata mana, manak, right? Na akampana. Akampana means like kind of shivering, right? Like akampana, it is actually like kind of one of the ecstatic symptoms is like shivering, right? Kampana, right? So na akampata, that means what? He hit him on the chest, but the Lord even did not feel the he did not even slightly feel a quivering or quaking, right? And the comparison is given Eva, right? Eva as Srija Hataha Dvipaha. Hataha, elephant, right? If an elephant is struck by a flower, what will happen to the elephant? Nothing. I mean, if you like in Mayapur, especially when you see the elephant, like you can go and touch the elephant. The skin is so thick. It's almost like a wall. I mean, there's like nothing you cannot like, something that you can poke a skin of an elephant. Really like a wall is so thick. And imagine a flower, a petal you throw on. What will happen? Right? So similarly, the comparison again, Hiranyaksha, such a powerful demon, he struck him. And the Lord just felt like, oh, a petal on my chest. Okay, translation.
I was thinking, Prabhu, if you give the flower to the elephants in Mayapur, they will eat it.
Really?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, hit in this manner by the demon, O Vidura, the Lord who had appeared as the first boar did not feel the least quivering in any part of his body, any more than elephant would when struck with a wreath of flowers.
And Prabhupada and purport points out that sometimes your father will fight with a small child, and the child will come and say, "Dad, I hit you." Right? And the father will be like, "Oh, hurting so much." So that way the Lord is simply enjoying. He's like enjoying the Leela. And he's saying, see, again and again we see this mood that though it is like, okay, Jay and Vijay fighting with the Supreme Personality of God, and it's actually Hiranyaksha fighting with it. But we can see the mood. Now what does Prabhupada say? It was just like an offering of flower by Jay and Vijay to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we see that mood, that in inner there is another Leela going on. Outer, there is a Veer Rasa going on. 17.
Atorudhasrujanmayam yogamayeshvare haro yam vilokya prajastrasta minere syopasyam yamam.
Okay, let's read the translation once.
The demon, however, employed many conjuring tricks against the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of Yoga Maya. At the sight of this, the people were filled with alarm and thought that the dissolution of the universe was near.
So basically here it says after, Lord didn't feel anything with that entire hit, Ataha, then Urdha Asrajat. So in many ways, Mayam Haro, he actually engaged Maya, like illusory tricks at Hari, right? And who is Hari? So he tried to have some Maya tricks on Hari, right? You know how, I don't know if you see like Ramayan, our TV series Ramayan, and you see a demon, and all of a sudden there'll be like, like clouds and illusion and like, all these like Maya tricks, right? It is that in Ramayana also is described how the demons, they actually employed these Maya tricks. But here it says, yes, he employed Maya tricks, but who is the Lord? Yoga Maya Ishvaraha. right? He employs some Maya tricks, but who is the Lord? He is actually the source of all the yoga Maya. What the Maya you can think of, the Lord is actually a controller of all the Maya, right? And then Yam Viloksha Prajaha, when all the people, they saw this, Trashtaha, they became fearful and they were thinking, Asya Upasam Sam Yamam. Oh, the universe is going to end. Dissolution of the universe is going to happen. So Prabhupada in the purport said, right, so it appeared as if it was the dissolution of the universe. This is a greatness of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the wavering of his little finger appears to be great and very dangerous movement in the eyes of the inhabitants of this universe. So Prabhupada is actually making the point that the Lord is the source of all the yoga Maya, right? So when the demon actually applied this Maya tricks and everyone thought, oh, universe is going to end. Imagine the Lord, just with a little finger, he'll do something, and everyone will be like, this is the glory of our Lord. He's so great, so great. He's the source of yoga Maya. Okay, 18.
Pravavur Vayavashchandas Tamapam Savam Ayrayan Digbyo Nipetur Gravana Kshepanai Prahita Iva.
So it says Pravahu Vayava Chandaha. So then what was the illusion like? Fierce winds were blowing from all sides, and Tamaha, darkness spread in all directions, and there was dust and hail, and then Dirbhya Neputu Gravanaha. All from all directions, stones were falling. Stones were falling from all directions. Eva, as if Shepanahi. It's interesting what Prabhupada gives translation to Shepanahi. He said as if machine guns. Machine guns? Were there machine guns at that time? Actually, even Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he actually says that Shepanahi means dispersion weapons. Some weapons that actually continuously sends out, like arrows or something. Right? So dispersion weapons are machine guns. Just like that, there were stones continuously falling from all sides. Okay. Translation?
Fierce winds began to blow from all directions, spreading darkness occasioned by dust and hailstorms. Stones came in volleys from every corner as if thrown by machine guns.
19.
Dyornashta Bhagana Brogai Savidyut Stanayit Nubihi Varshadbhi Puya Kesha Srij Vinmudrasthini Chashakrit.
Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The luminaries in outer space disappear due to the skies being overcast with masses of clouds, which are accompanied by lightning and thunder. The sky
Hare Krishna. Okay. So my video froze. But everyone could hear it, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
So here, basically, this is like, luminaries disappeared from the sky. So what was Brahma's request? The Brahma actually said that you actually kill him right away because the Abhijit Muhurat is actually going to come to an end. There's a very auspicious moment. So this actually indicates when you say Dyo Nashtaha Bhagana, that all the auspicious luminaries, they actually disappear. That means that the Abhijit Muhurat has already, the Lord is so absorbed in playing that the Abhijit Muhurat has already passed away. The Lord is not concerned about Abhijit Muhurat or anything. He's so absorbed in play that Muhurat went away. And then it says like how the sky was covered with masses of clouds, with thunder, with lightning. And then what was raining from the sky? Imagine this, how disgusting. It's like puya, and it's pus, kesha, hair, asrak, blood, vita, stool, mutra, urine, and bones. Again and again, all these disgusting items were actually showering from the sky. So horrible. Okay, next, text 20.
Giraya Pratya Drishyanta Nana Yudha Mucho Naga Digvasaso Yatu Dhanya Shulinyo Mukta Murdhaja.
Okay, Anaga, O sinless Vidura. Anaga, we have seen this word before also used. Anagaha, O sinless Vidura. Giraya, all these, Giraya Pratyadesha Nana Ayudha. It appeared that the mountains were discharging so many different weapons. Dik Vasaha, it says like naked demoness with loose hair, armed with tridents, they appeared everywhere. Translation?
Hare Krishna. O sinless Vidura, mountains discharge weapons of various kinds, and naked demonesses, armed with the tridents, appeared with their hair hanging loose. Hare Krishna.
Okay, 21. So when we are reading, we should like actually try to visualize, oh, the Lord is right there and all this is happening, illusion everywhere and all these disgusting items coming from the sky, stones are falling, a naked demoness with loose hair, with trident, they're coming. Okay, 21.
Bahubhiryaksharakshobhi patyashvaratakunjarai ataibhir utsrishta himravachoti vaishasaha.
So Hahu Bihi. So many Yaksha Rakshobi, many Yaksha and Rakshasas. Then what did they do? There were many who were Pati. Pati means they were marching on foot. Ashwa, they were on horses. Ratha on chariots. Kunjavahi on elephants. So all these Yakshas and Rakshasas on these either walking or on horses or chariots or elephants. Himshraha Vachaha Usra. They uttered cruel words, very fierce, murderous words. Right? So they were actually all from all sides. These yakshas were speaking very ill words. 21. Translation.
Hare Krishna. Cruel and savage slogans were uttered by hosts of profane Akshas and Rakshasas, who all either marched on foot or rode on horses, elephants, or chariots.
Okay, 22.
Praduskritana asurinam vinashayat sudarshanastram bhagavan prayunkta daitam tripat.
Let's read translation.
The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshan, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by demons.
So basically all these illusory things, Maya, right? Pradushkrita Maya nam asurim. So all these Maya created by the Asura, displayed by the Asura. Then Vinashita, so the Lord desiring to destroy all this illusion. Sudarshan Astra, with the Sudarshan Astra, he just threw his Sudarshan Astra and immediately everything, all these illusory things disappeared, right? And then how is the Lord described? Three-part the word is used. Now, what does this three-part actually indicate? So one meaning that Prabhupada says word to word, he is three, right? So the enjoyer of one, sacrifices, two, penances, third, austerities, right? The Lord is the enjoyer of sacrifices, penance, austerity. First meaning. Second meaning of three-part, he is the enjoyer of three kinds of yagyas, right? What is that? Sacrifices of goods, sacrifice of meditation, and philosophical speculation. The sacrifice of goods, meditation, and philosophical speculation. So, yeah. And then the third meaning is that he is the enjoyer of all the practices of those who are on the path of Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Karma Yoga. Right? So, three meanings of Tripat. Right? First is enjoyer of all sacrifices, penance, austerities. Second one, enjoyer of three kinds of yagya, sacrifice of goods like items, meditation, philosophical speculation. Third, practices of those on the path of Gyan, Yoga, and Karma. Now, Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about that even yogis, they can do like some mystical things, right? Like we have in India, you have some yogis, they'll come and they'll say, here, magic. And from that, they will do something and there will be ash from their hand, or they'll do some magic and an apple will appear from the hand. So even Prabhupada makes the point that even yogis, they have some mystical power. They can do some magic. And there's one person who's very famous in India, and no names, but But he used to do like, he used to like one way, like people used to come to him and he used to do magic tricks and give them ash, give them this, give them that. Right? And then there is a famous magician in India, PC Sarkar. I'm sure you've heard of him. And the other person who's, recognized as a spiritual, saintly person, some people say he's God doing all these tricks. PC Sarkar said, actually, we studied in the same school, how to do magic. And now that person using that skill of magic and he's cheating people and saying, oh, I am God, see. Right? But Prabhupada is here making the point that yogis who are actually even proper yogis, they get these powers. Right? Prabhupada mentioned that how we know the Ashta Siddhis, right? One can become lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest. Then there is one Prapti. Prapti means one can get anything from anywhere. So now, if you say like, I want a mango from India, a yogi can get that. A yogi can get that mango all the way from India and produce it right in front of you. Right? So that Prapti Siddhi is there. So they may have all these mystical powers. But in front of the Lord, what value are all these mystical powers? And Prabhupada gives the example of Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. Right? Imagine Durvasa Muni had so much power that when Ambarish actually, when he came back, right now, Ambarish Maharaj said, okay, please take your bath, come back, I want to serve you, and only after that, I'll break my fast. But then the time was, running out, so he just drank a water, that way broke his fast and still did not offend his guest. But Durvasa Muni came back, he knew, oh, see, Ambarish, such a proud king, he ate before me, and immediately he took a tuft of hair, and then a demon was produced, right? And the demon came to actually hurt Ambarish. But what was Ambarish doing? The demon came, Ambarish did not take his sword to fight. He just stood there. If Krishna wants to protect me, he'll protect me. He just stood there. And even previously in Bhagavatam, even before this episode, it is said that Ambarish, because he was Savai Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayo, he was engaging all his senses and his mind in service of the Lord. The Lord actually gave him the Sudarshan Chakra. Like Mataji asked the question, how is the devotee as powerful as the Lord? Now we see how Ambarish Maharaj, the Lord gave him Sudarshan Chakra for his protection. And when the demon attacked, then the Sudarshan Chakra came, killed the demon, and started following Durvasa Muni. And then we know how he followed Durvasa Muni everywhere. He went in the waters, in the oceans, in the mountains, everywhere he was going to escape. He could not escape the Sudarshan Chakra. And then he went to Brahma, he went to Shiva, he went to Vishnu. All of them said, go back to Ambarish. Brahma and Shiva, they said like, what are you talking? When the time of annihilation comes, Vishnu just, and Vishnu just desires it and all the annihilation. We are all under the control of Vishnu. How come we have the power? We don't have any power to actually go against the Sudarshan Chakra. Go to Vishnu. And when we go to Vishnu, he said, Brahma and Shiva are dependent, on my power. But even I am dependent on someone's power. Who is that? I am dependent. I am aham bhakta paradina. I am under the control of my devotees. So even I don't have the power. Go back to Ambarish, fall at his feet, beg for forgiveness. Then he will take care, right? So here Prabhupada talks about that. How the Lord's power is Sudarshan Chakra. Nothing, no magic, no all this, illusion can stay. Just by the presence of Sudarshan Chakra, everything will get vanquished. Okay. 23.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
Prabhu, why in this purport bhakti is not mentioned? Like thought is not an enjoyer. Like Tripada mein Gyan, Yoga and Karma is mentioned, but why bhakti, the path of bhakti doesn't come to an end?
So Prabhupada mentions the point in purpose. He says, those on the paths of Gyan, Yoga, and Karma all have to come in the end to the Supreme Lord because Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And that Supreme Lord is the ultimate enjoyer of everything. So, see, the point is, certainly, Bhakti is actually the one by which the Lord is conquered. He is actually really pleased by Bhakti. So, one way the Shastra says, when you're mentioning that Tripad, there is no need to mention Bhakti because Bhakti is the highest. Now, when you talk of Jnana, Yoga, and Karma, is the Lord actually pleased by that? Yes. Even in that sacrifices, whatever is done, yes, the benefit is Lord is getting some, but the ultimate is Bhakti. That way we can. Okay. Text 23. Okay,
Tada,
3 more verses and then we'll stop. Yeah.
tadadhite samabhavat sahasare patuhu smarantya bhartur adesham stanachcha shrik prasusruve.
Tada, at that time, Veputu, a shudder. In who? Sahasa Sambhava Ditihi. In Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha, a shudder. All of a sudden, she shuddered, right? And Sharantya Bhartu Adesham, she was recalling the words of her husband, that how my son will be killed by Vishnu. She remembered those words and then she shuddered. And then Stanat means a breast, like from her breast, Asraka Prasuva. Blood actually started flowing from her breast. Right? So Prabhupada mentioned how blood could not transform into milk. So milk is produced when there is that affection for the children. But here it is because it was out of that fear, out of the words that she had heard from her husband, it was actually the the blood could not be transformed into milk. And then Prabhupada says, to drink blood is inauspicious, to drink milk is auspicious. Okay, translation.
Hare Krishna. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyap, and blood flowed from her breast.
24.
Vinashtasu swamayasu bhuyascha vrajya keshavam rushopa guhamano mum dadrishe vastitam bahihi.
Okay.
Krishna.
Right.
When the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead, Keshava, and full of rage, tried to embrace him with his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms.
So he showed magic powers and the Lord dispelled it. And then here it says, Vinatsatu Swa Mayasu. When all his magic, his Maya was actually dispelled. Then Bhuya Avraja. Again he came in front of Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Rushaha with full rage. What did he do? He tried to embrace the Lord. Now when you think about this embrace, we know how two rasas are going on here, right? One is the Virya rasa, that mood of fighting and anger, Rushaha, anger, and here at the other time, Jay and Vijay, in that mood, they're trying to embrace, feel that affection of the Lord. But here in the mood of anger, as Hiranyaksha, he was trying to crush the Lord, right? And Dadashre, Avistam, Amu Bhahi, even though he was going like this to the Lord, every time he did, tried to embrace the Lord was outside his circle. Like he was going like this, and then the Lord was outside the circle, right? You're outside the circle of arms, right? So Prabhupada makes this point, how the demons, they try to measure the Lord. They try to capture the Lord, the unlimited with their limited material powers. And then Prabhupada says, but God is the greatest of the great and the smallest of the small. He can appear in a moment as the Virat Rupa and at the same time simultaneously be within every atom and in between every atom. That is the Lord. Immediately Virat Rupa, at the same time, like inside the atom, between an atom. Who can capture the Lord? Right? With our mental speculation, with our physical strength, no one can capture the Lord. Right? No one can. So for a devotee, any form of the Lord is acceptable, and he accepts and he worships. Even the Lord in every atom is actually saying, oh, my Lord is present in every atom, right? The devotee actually, with gratitude, with affection, he worships any form of the Lord, but the demon cannot approach any form of the Lord. They cannot capture any form of the Lord. Translation, do you read?
Yes.
Okay, so next verse, 25.
Tam mushtibhirvinignatam vajrasharar adokshajaha karena karna mulehan yatha tvashtram marutpatihi.
One more point in the previous purport, Prabhupada actually makes so nicely. There are many devotees who keep a statue of a Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in a box. So the point is, the demons they try to capture, like Hiranyaksha with all his power, is trying to capture the Lord, but still cannot. But what do devotees do? Out of affection, like how we read about, let's say, Lokanath Goswami, right? How he, when the deity appeared to him, the Brahmana came and said, here, right? Krishna actually, some say that the Brahmana was Krishna himself, right? Came and appeared to him as a Radha Vinod, right? In the form of Radha Vinod. And then how did the Loknath actually carry him? Just in his like kind of a bag, like a jhola. And the Lord was inside his jhola and he used to carry the Lord everywhere. And night, when the Lord wants to sleep, just hang his jhola and then the Lord is sleeping inside his jhola, like a swing. So a devotee, and we see like different devotees in the box, they'll have like Shaligram Shila or Giriraj Shila, all this. So for a devotee, the Lord, out of that mood of devotion, he is willing to be inside the box, inside the bag. But for a demon, he never accepts such a form, right? He will never is inaccessible to for a demon. But for a devotee, he is willing to be packed in a box, travel in an airplane all the way to India. Lord is actually willing to do that just out of his love for his devotee. 25. Sorry. We read the Sanskrit, right? Okay, translation.
We have not. Yeah. 3:19:25. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fists. But Lord Adoksaja slapped him in the root of the ear, even as Indra, the lord of the Marut, hit the demon Vrita.
So here,
Vitra.
right? So here it said, so Hiranyaksha, he actually and tried to capture the Lord, but he was not able to. Then he started striking the Lord with as hard as a thunderbolt, Vajra Sarahi, just like a Vajra, like a thunderbolt, he started hitting the Lord. But the Lord, who is Adoksaja means is beyond, right? Beyond our senses, we say, beyond Akshaja. Adoksaja Karena. Right? So with his hand, he was actually trying to strike the Lord. But what did the Lord do? Right? Karna Mule. Right? But Karna is a ear. Right? The root of the ear, Karna Mule. The Lord just came. So now if you see, if you're really in the scene from the previous chapter, so intense fight is going on. First with mace, then with the trident, Sudarshan Chakra, then all these magic powers, everything is happening. And finally, one may think, how will the Lord kill him? It must be something like really powerful, getting so and so a new weapon or like Sudarshan Chakra or something. And how does the Lord kill? He just comes under the ear, one tap, and that's it. It's over. Hiranyaksha over. End of the story. So okay, let's read the next verse. And the example here is Yatha Trashtam Marutpati. How Indra he actually hit the demon Vritrasura. Right? So this story comes in the 6th canto. We'll see and the entire episode of Indra and Vritrasura. But that's the example that's given here. Okay, 26.
The ahato vishvajitaya vadgyaya paribhramadgatra udastalochanaha vishirna bhavang rishiro rupatad yatha nagendro ludito nabhashvatam. Those struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the demon's body began to wheel, his eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. He fell down dead like a gigantic tree uprooted by the wind.
So here it says like, imagine one tiny, like before this, what do you read? That he was actually able to conquer everyone. That most powerful demon that no one could actually defeat, and he couldn't even find a suitable competitor to him. He, just with a tap of the Lord, slap of the Lord under the ear, what happened? Particularly the Lord is the word is used, Vishwajita. Vishwajita, the one who is always victorious in the entire world, the one who is always the conqueror, the victor, the one who always has victory. Then avagyaya, the word is used, avagyaya, very indifferently, very indifferently, like one slap, right? Not even with like so much power. Then what happened? Paribrat Grataha, his entire Hiranyaksha's body started wheeling. Udasta Lochana, his eyes came out of socket. His arms were broken. His legs were broken. Shiraha Ruha, his hairs became scattered and he fell down. Right? And then here the translation is Yata Naga Indra Lulita Nabaswa. Like a gigantic tree may fall in the wind, similarly, this huge, gigantic demon fell down. Right? So Prabhupada here, in the purport, he says, it does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon. Right? We see this in Vrindavan Leela, right? Can we hear some examples of how the Lord Janmashtami is coming? So it's nice to meditate on Krishna Leela. Which demons can we think of and how the Lord very easily killed the demon?
Kalia, he was dancing on his heads.
Yeah, Kalia, he was dancing, but Kalia he didn't actually kill, but yes, he suppressed Kalia just by dancing on his hoods. Okay, what?
Putana.
Yeah, Putana. He just
By
sucked
second.
his breast and instructed life air, right?
I would say Prabhu Balaram's because he was not a dramatic person. Just with one fist, Balaram, Balambasura, and Dhenukasura gone.
Yeah. So how did Balram actually come? Dhenukasura just got out of the back, like someone would just like take a cloth, like a piece of cloth, and then just go around and throw it. Similarly, he just took the hand like and threw it on a tree. Dead. That's it. Who else?
Sekasura just with his legs.
Keshi, yeah, Keshi, right? He just like fist inside the mouth of Keshi, and that's it. Over. And then who else?
Rinvata. The wind demon.
Oh yeah, Trinavarta. Yeah, he just became so heavy that he had to bring him down. Mohan Prabhu. Who?
Shakatashura, Krishna with his little foot.
Yeah, a small foot, like just touch, and then the whole demon there. And imagine these demons are so powerful. Like Kamsa is selecting all these demons are like the best of all demons that Kamsa has in his pack. He's saying like, okay, you go. And every time they come back, it's like, okay, another better demon, go, kill, right? And then Krishna so easily. Aghasura, he entered and then said, I'll just grow a little big. And then that's it, choke. So that's how Krishna, like he kills all these demons just like a fun. Everything is just Leela of the Lord. It's just like a fun. It's fun of the Lord. So this is the Lord. If we are actually on his side, we just take devotion we express our devotion to the Lord, engage in bhakti to the Lord. Which demon can actually hurt us? The Lord is on our side, and why do we have to worry? Like we become fearless with the presence of the Lord. So Prabhupada says, the Lord could have killed him earlier, but he allowed the demon to display his Maya power, allowed the demon to hit him with a mace. He was just having fun. Right? And then Prabhupada also says like the material scientists, by scientific advancement of knowledge or by material power, one cannot become equal to Lord. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. We can make like nuclear bomb, this bomb, that bomb, or this fight, this weapon. Lord will just like one attempt, he'll destroy everything. Okay, so that's how the demon is now dead. Varahadeva ki jai Shri. Okay, so we'll stop here. So let's see any comments at this point. So that's the majority of chapter. Now is the conclusion part. How will the demigods, they offer their prayers. And then we hear about the glories of Fal Shruti. Right? Any other points?
I had a question from quite early. When Hiranyaksha he saw the Sudarshan Chakra, he could the first time Sudarshan Chakra appeared, Hiranyaksha. So I was thinking that a person who has been in Vaikuntha, inhabitants, they have already developed all the sattvika bhavas, everything, right? So by looking at the Sudarshan, the body would automatically, should like get onto the shivering, trembling, and all those things. So like how, just a little thing reminds Mayashoda of Krishna and she becomes mad. So how could Hiranyaksha could control that,
I mean, that only point we can say here is Yogamaya. Yogamaya, it actually controls Krishna and also his devotees so that they are actually the best actor on the stage. Otherwise, like, how is it possible? But it's only Yogamaya. It'll come at the right moment, right time, and it'll bring like this rasa. It will suppress the other rasa. Like how another example we see is like after Krishna killed Kamsa, and then he came to Vasudeva and Devaki. Right? And Vasudeva and Devaki, they saw Krishna and he just killed Kamsa. He's the supreme personality of God. And Vasudeva and Devaki, immediately their mood was what? They wanted to offer prayers. They wanted to fold their hands. And Krishna said, they have parents. I don't want them to offer pranam to me. I want to experience the parental. And immediately Yoga Maya came and then covered that mood. They were having that mood of like, oh, supreme personality of God. Immediately Yoga Maya covered, and then Vasudeva, they said, oh, our son Krishna, and then took him on the lap and exchanged the parental. We see how Yoga Maya, she's so expert. She manages all the emotions and all to make it perfect for every leela.
So, but then that means also that, Prabhu, that the individual soul has the choice of experiencing until, like, not in, I mean, in this case, not Bhatha jivas, but like liberated persons. You know, they have, like how you said about how they wanted to offer prayers, but then Yogamaya wanted to enjoy and made Krishna enjoy more. So individual level, I mean, we have the independence to react with the rasa with the Lord, right?
I mean, see, the point is, at Jiva, we are minute. We are so insignificant, infinitesimal, my Prabhupada says. Like so we have only one choice. Either we are under the control of Yoga Maya or we are under the control of Maya. You know, that's the only thing that Jiva has. So here in this material world, we are under the control of Mahama. And in the spiritual world, we willfully, out of love, become under the control of Yoga Maya. Out of love. We say like, yes, whatever Krishna wants, whatever Krishna's pleasure, okay, Yoga Maya, you control me in such a way that I can give pleasure. That does not mean that the individual desires of the jiva is suppressed. It's still the Lord, the devotees want to serve. Oh, I want to make kachori for the Lord. I mean, that desires, whatever is there, it's there. You know? But they are willfully like under the control of Yoga Maya to make everything more and more relishable for the Lord. Okay, any other points, anyone?
Prabhuji, I really like the point that you said that when we pray, what is our intention behind the prayers? When we are chanting, we want to give pleasure to my Guru, Radha and Krishna.
In devotional service, we have three things, right? Intention, attention, action. Right? There has to be action because it's devotional service, right? But the action has to be with right attention, or with right intention, and it has to be done with attention. Then it is devotional service. Attention, intention, and action. Any other points? Take a quick break.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I like the point when Lord likes to be defeated by his devotees, he enjoys that.
I mean, imagine in Vrindavan Leela, right? How the Lord, like, you know, they have all these games. Krishna on one side, Balram on our side, and then the Lord actually, he gets defeated, right? And now Krishna is fighting with the cowherd boy, and he gets defeated by the cowherd boy. No, it's like, and like Guru Maharaj, like in a joking way, he used to always say like, and then Krishna gets defeated by, like, they're wrestling, and then Krishna gets defeated, and then he says, oh, actually, there was a banana peel here, and then I slipped, and that's why I got defeated. Otherwise, I am more powerful than you. And that's how Krishna enjoys all the rasas, you know, it's like so sweet, you know, I see that. Thank you.
I also like the point that Hiranyaksha is going to embrace the Lord, and how the Lord likes to be confined by his devotees, even in a box or bag, because he likes that love of his devotees.
Yeah, so for the demon, he actually was trying to capture, but he was not accessible. But for a devotee, out of devotion, he willfully said, okay, you want to put me in this box? Sure. I'll sit in his bag. You serve me. I will accept whatever service. Even if you give me a burnt bati, I will accept that. Sanatan Goswami. Even if there's no salt, I will accept. No problem. So that's the mood of a devotee. How the Lord is conquered by that bhakti. That's our whole philosophy, that devotion of a devotee. Okay, so let's take a quick break, 5 minutes.
Prabhu, the first time I was traveling from US back from India to US, I had met Gornitai in a box, like a big box, because they're big duties. So I was bringing them, and the air hostesses in Dubai. Oh, such sweet toys you have. You want to play with them in the flight? Such sweet toys, like dolls.
It's interesting.
So,
Yeah.
and she actually asked all of them, all the air hostess, to come and look at them.
It's amazing when devotees they travel with their deities, they bless everyone. All the security people, all the people like in the scan, they're looking, they'll see Gornitai, they'll see Giriraj, they'll see all these forms, and then someone asked to open and they get darshan. Oh wow, so nice. And they get so much spiritual credits for that. Amazing. Okay, thank you all so much. Take a quick break. Come back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Let's come back and we'll continue. We'll complete this chapter today. Okay, so everyone, let's continue. So text number 27. Let's read the Sanskrit.
Shitoshayanam tamakuntavarchasam karaladam stramparidashtadachadam ajadayo vikshas shasham suragata aho imam konulabheta samstitim.
Okay, Shito Shayanam Tam. So Hiranyaksha was lying on the ground. The word here that's important is Akunta Varchasam. Akunta means unfaded, Varchasam glow. So Prabhupada makes a point in purport that when a person leaves, normally when a soul leaves a body, then naturally the body starts decaying, and then whatever glow is there, you can make out, okay, this is a dead body. But for Hiranyaksha, even though the soul had left the body, still the glow was unfaded. And Prabhupada makes this point in the purport, that for those personalities, who are such pure devotees, the Supreme Personality of God is in touch with them. Even after they leave their body, you can see that the body is still glowing. And then I certainly don't like to talk about this, but just to make the point of glorification here. Like when my Guru Maharaj's Vapu was taken from here all the way to Mayapur, it was like so many days, But when the Vapu arrived in Mayapur, and because it was so many days with the whole, taking from Florida all the way, but when it arrived in Mayapur, and then when it saw the Vapu, it was like glowing, so beautiful, Even though it was days, like you cannot explain this concept medically. It was glowing and the body was like soft and he could sit in the lotus position and, and Prabhupada makes a point here in purport. Only for those who are actually in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that the body, that even after, the soul leaves, their body is always glowing. And because Hiranyaksha, anyway, he's Jay and Vijay, and we see, like the point is made, Akunta Varchasam. Even after he left, his glow was unfading. And Prabhupada's entire purport focuses on this point, right? Because the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was touching his body, right? So we can see for pure devotees also that even after they leave, their body is glowing. That means the Lord was personally touching their body, or is personally touching their body, you know. So, okay. So, Akunta, Varchasam. So, his glow was unfaded. Karala Damsram Paridansa, like his lip bitten by fearful teeth. And then it says, Aja Adya Viksha, Brahma and the others, seeing how this demon has been killed, what they say? Aho imam ka nu labheta samsitam. Who could actually meet such a blessed death? Well, personally seeing the Lord in front of you, personally killed by the touch of the Lord. Who can have such a fortunate death? Even Brahma and the demigods were glorifying how fortunate is the demon that he's actually personally touched by the Lord and he's actually having darshan of the Lord when he leaves his body. Imagine that, right? Having darshan of the Lord when you leave your body. What could be more fortunate than that? Right? So, okay, translation.
Hare Krishna. Aja, Brahma, and others arrived on the spot to see the fearfully tusked demon lying on the ground, biting his lip. The glow of his face was yet unfaded, and Brahma admiringly said, "Oh, who could meet such a blessed death?"
Okay, next verse, 28.
Yam yogino yoga samadhina raho dhyayanti lingara sato mumukshaya tasyaisha daitya rishabha padahato mukham prabashyam stanum utsasarjaham.
Translation.
Hare Krishna. Brahma continued. He was struck by 4 foot of the Lord, whom yogis seeking freedom from their unreal material bodies meditate upon in seclusion in mystic trance. While gazing on his countenance, this crest jewel of Diti's sons has cast off his mortal coil. Hare Krishna.
So basically here it says that yeah, how fortunate is his, his passing away. And here they are glorifying that on that. So here it says, Yam Yogina, the yogis in yoga samadhi, in mystic, in their mystic samadhi or trance, what do the yogis do? They actually varaha. So is the word Raho, right? So Raha means in seclusion, right? So this actually Prabhupada makes a point in the purport that how yogis, normally when they do dhyana yoga, it is supposed to be done in seclusion, not as a public demonstration, right? It's supposed to be done in seclusion. Raha in seclusion. Dhyayanti, they meditate upon. So the lotus feet of the Lord, which is actually meditated by the yogis in samadhi, that lotus feet was actually the demon was fortunate to actually be struck by that lotus feet, right? And then mukham praisham, and while gazing upon the form of the Lord, tanum usrajya, he cast off his body. Who can be more fortunate than this? Now, was the demon struck by the lotus feet of the Lord? Right? We didn't read that in the fight, right? So actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur makes this point, right? So he was actually struck by the hand, right? By the hand. But why does it say lotus feet? Because for Varaha, you get the point. Sanatan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is making the point. Therefore, Varaha, it is actually considered the front two are considered the front feet, right? And then the below two are considered the lower feet. So when he was touched by the hand of the Lord, that is actually the front feet of the Lord. And hence he was actually so fortunate to be struck by the lotus feet of the Lord when he actually left, and he's got direct darshan of the Lord. Who can be more fortunate than this? Imagine living in this way. The Lord personally gives us darshan and blesses us with a touch of his lotus feet. And then, yeah, so fortunate. So here also, Prabhupada actually makes this point. He says, Lingat asataha mumukshaya. So this phrase, Prabhupada stresses in the purport, where he says, yogi, when they are meditating in samadhi, right, they are actually meditating, seeking freedom from asataha. Asataha means which is not permanent, right? So yogis, they are meditating to get freedom from this unreal body. Right? So Prabhupada makes this point that yoga is not, the purpose of yoga is not to have a good health. The purpose of yoga is not to increase your sex life, which is actually very commonly said. The purpose of yoga is to get free from this acceptance of these temporary bodies. So Prabhupada stresses on this point that this is the purpose of yoga. So he says, yoga, what is the ultimate purpose? You want to get free from this entire acceptance of body one after another. And second, yoga is actually should be done in a secluded place, not in a public place, not in demonstration on stage. Right? Third, yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these 3 points Prabhupada makes in the purport. Next verse, 29.
Etoto parshadavasya shapadyata vasadgatim punakati payaistanam prapatsyeten janmabihi.
So just by Sanskrit we can say etau, these, parshadau. We read out parshadau. Few times that word has come. These two personal associates of the Lord, right? Asya, of the Lord. Shapa, because they were cursed, right? They were cursed. Yato asat gatim, because of the curse of the 4 Kumaras, they are actually taken birth in asat gatim, in the family of demons, right? Punaha katipaya. So again, katipaye janmabhi. After few births, okay, this is going to happen again. After few births, stanam hi pratiyeta. Very soon they will go back and attain their original position in the Vaikuntha Loka. They'll again go back, serve as Jaya and Vijay. Okay, translation.
A translation: these two personal assistants of the Supreme Lord, having been cursed, have been destined to take birth in demoniac families. After a few such births, they will return to their own positions. Hare Krishna.
Text 30.
Deva uchuhu namo namaste kila yagyatantave stito grihita mala sattva murtaye dishtyahato yam jagatam arundutas tvatpada bhaktya vayamisha nirvritaha.
So here we can see the demigods, they are offering prayers to the Lord. They say Deva Uchuhu. So this is all the demigods. They're saying Namaha Namaha, or Namo Namaha. So this is all obeisances to you, O Varaha Dev, all obeisances to you. Akila Yagya Tantave. You are the enjoyer of all the Yagya. We read this again and again, how the form of the Lord is actually the embodiment of all yagyas, or enjoyer of all sacrifices. Then he says, Stitam Grihita Amala Sattva Murtaya. You actually, for the purpose of stitaha, stitaha means maintenance, for the purpose of maintenance of this material world, you do what? Amala Sattva Murtaya. You accept a form which is Amala Sattva, which is actually that made of pure goodness. Right? So Prabhupada mentions this point in the purport. He says, yes, in this material world, there is a tamaha, rajaha, sattva. But that sattva, you will not find pure goodness in this material world. Even that sattva is always mixed with a tinge of rajaha or tamaha. When we talk of pure goodness, that is only spiritual. And when you say the Lord has accepted a form of pure goodness, that means the form of varaha is not material at all. Not even sattva guna. It is actually Shuddha Sattva. It is completely spiritual. So hence they are saying, for the purpose of maintenance, you accept a murti, murtaye, as Amala Sattva, of pure goodness. That's the third quality. Then fourth, they say, Dishtya Hataha Ayam Jagatam Arudataha. Fortunately for us, you have actually appeared and you have killed this demon who was actually Jagatam Arudataha. He was causing so much disturbance to the whole Jagata, to the whole world. And last they say, Ishaha, O Lord, Nivrita, we have also attained. So last part says Bhaktya, devotion. We have also Nivrita, right? So they say, we have also attained pleasure by our devotion unto you. Right? Okay, so translation.
The demigods address the Lord. All obeisances unto you. You are the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and you have assumed the form of a boar in pure goodness for the purpose of maintaining the world. Fortunately for us, this demon, who was a torment to the worlds, has been slain by you, and we too, O Lord, are now at ease in devotion to your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada in the purport makes the point, all sacrifices are meant to please the Lord, right? So living entities who know this perfectly well are called demigods, godly, or almost God, right? And then he says, every living entity is part and parcel of the Lord. Hence, the duty of every living entity is please the Lord. Duty of each one of us to actually give pleasure to the Lord, right? So the Lord, though he is like the abode of happiness, right? He's Akhila Rasamrita Murti, but still, like each one of us as his part and parcel, our duty is to give pleasure to the Lord. And how do we give pleasure to the Lord? Purified life is meant to please the Lord. So we purify our consciousness to give pleasure to the Lord. And all sacrifices performed in purified life are called Krishna consciousness. All activities we do in purified life is called Krishna consciousness. So what is the definition of bhakti? So what are the two main definitions of bhakti?
Anyabhilashita shunyam jnanakarma.
Okay, and then one more. In Nectar of Devotion, it actually quotes this and then says there's a similar verse which actually defines bhakti. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam. Rishikesha sevanam bhakti uchyate. So this devotion is what? With our senses, we are giving pleasure to the master of the senses. But how will that happen? Sarvopadi vinirmuktam. We have to give up all our designations. And tatparatena nirmalam. We have to become purified. So with our purified senses, when we actually serve the master of the senses, that is called devotion. So are we doing devotion now or not?
We are trying, Prabhu.
We are doing sadhana bhakti. That's why it's called sadhana. We are in the practice stage, right? And because we are followers of Srila Prabhupada, by his mercy, we are sadhana for what? This devotional service. Anya Bhilasita Sudham. Uttama Bhakti. We are doing sadhana bhakti. Our goal is Uttama Bhakti. So sadhana bhakti leading to Uttama Bhakti. Okay, 31.
Maitreya Uvacha Evam Viranyaksham Asaya Vikramam Sasadya Yetva Hari Adi Shukaraha Jagamalokam Swam Akanditotsavam Samirita Pushkara Vishtaradibihi.
So this is basically the conclusion now, right? So Maitreya Rishi is saying what? Okay, so Evam, it says here, thus, so this entire episode is over. So Maitreya Rishi is concluding and saying, thus, asaya vikramam hiranyaksha. That very powerful hiranyaksha, sa, referring to the Lord, sadat harihi. So after being killed by Hari, that very powerful demon Hiranyaksha, after being killed by Lord Hari, who is Adi Sukarha, the origin of the boar species, right? So Prabhupada stresses on this point, how the Lord is the origin of all the species. Right? There are 8.4 million species, but who is the original form? It is the Lord himself. Hence it's called Adi Sukarha, the origin of the boar species. And they say Jagama Lokam Swam. He actually returned back to his Loka. After showing Varahadev, he did his, he came to actually lift the earth to kill Hiranyaksha, expression that Veera Rasa. After everything, he went back to his abode. And what is the abode described as? Akhandita Utsavam. Such a nice word. So you can say like, where are we aspiring to go back to? A place which is Akhandita Utsavam. Akhanda means, we know Akhanda. They say sometimes Akhanda Kirtan. That means non-stop, 24 hours Kirtan. Akhanda Utsava, non-stop Utsava. Right? Imagine every day, every moment is a festival. Right? Every moment is a festival. Have Kirtan, have Katha, have Prasada. And then again, have Kirtan, have Katha, have Prasada. Then again, Kirtan, Katha, Prasada. And life is just every moment. Kirtan, Katha, Prasada. And that's the spiritual word. Akhanda Utsava. And that's where we want to go back to. Right? And then he says last, Samiditaha Pushkare Vishtara Adibi. So being praised by Brahma and the others, now the Lord has got back to his abode, which is Akhandita, where there's uninterrupted festival. So Prabhupada also in also another verse is Pushkara Vishtara. What does it mean? Pushkara Vishtara. One whose Pushkara is lotus, one whose seat is lotus. So our seat may be a chair or a couch, but whose seat is a lotus? Brahmaji. So having been praised by Brahma and others, the Lord returned to his seat. Okay, translation.
Sri Maitreya continued, after thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods headed by Brahma.
Prabhupada in the purport also quotes how Adi Purusha, Adyam, so many verses, Bhagavad Gita, Mata Sarvam Pravartate. They all say the origin of everything is Krishna. He is the Adi Purusha. Right? And then here it says Adi Shukara. He is the original boar form. Right? And then when he says Avatar, he's just descending, showing a particular purpose, and then he goes back. But that is the original form that is always there. Okay. 32.
Maya yatanuktam avadite harehe kritva avatarasya sumitra cheshtitam yata hiranyaksha udara vikramo mahamride kridanavan nirakritaha.
Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, I have explained to you the personality of Godhead's coming down as the first board incarnation, killing in a great fight the demon of unprecedented force. And if you were
Mata,
just...
your voice is coming in and going on.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay, repeat it. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, I have explained to you the personality of Godhead's coming down as the first boar incarnation and killing in a great fight a demon of unprecedented prowess as he were just a plaything. This has been narrated by me as I heard it from my predecessor spiritual master.
So this is all the conclusion. This entire last section is all the conclusion. So he says, Sumitra, O Vidura, Maya Anuktam. I have actually explained. I have explained to you. Harera Krita Avatarasya. I have explained to you about this incarnation of Hari, avatar of Hari, as a boar incarnation, right? Cheshtitam, I have explained the activities. I have explained Nirakritaha, how he actually killed Hiranyaksha. I have explained all this. And then Mahamride, the great fight also I have explained. And then Kridanavat, how the Lord very playfully is actually fighting and how playfully he's actually killed Hiranyaksha. All that I have explained. But how I have done it? Yatha Nuktam. Right? So this word, the second word, Yatha Nuktam, is actually a very important word which Prabhupada actually explains in the purport. Now, what does it mean that Maitreya Rishi is saying, I explain all this Yatha Nuktam? Yata Nukta means I have said what my guru has said. I have not got anything beyond that. I have not speculated. I'm not giving you some fictional story or adding some, as they say, masala to the fight. And just as I have heard it, that's how I'm telling you. Right? Yatha Nuktam. And Prabhupada stresses on this point in the purport that here Maitreya Rishi is admitting that what he is saying is a straight narration. Not some narration which is manufactured or not some narration which is interpreted. It is as it is. Like Bhagavad Gita, as it is, this is narration as it is. And Prabhupada says, unless it is as it is, we cannot accept that as authority. So unless we have heard from a bona fide source, how can we say that is authority? Right? So this is the system of parampara. You can accept knowledge only coming down from an unbroken chain of teachers going back to Krishna himself. System of parampara. Okay. Now 33 to 36. The purport Prabhupada says another thing. It also stated that how the Lord is actually, the word was what? As a plaything, Kridanavat. Right? Krida, we say play. Right? Kridanavat, just like a plaything. So Prabhupada in the purport says, a child breaks so many dolls without a real endeavor. So mothers know this well. Any toy comes, they'll take, and even though it's like, you cannot break it, child will easily like, tick, oh, it broke. Now new toy, right? So he says, Prabhupada says, a child breaks so many dolls without real endeavor. Similarly, although the demon was so powerful, so extraordinary, still the Lord actually killed him just like a plaything. Kridanavad. Okay, 33 to 36. That is actually talking of glories of the Lord activities. And here we are going out. So conversation Vidura and Maitreya. Who is outside? Suta Goswami, Saunak Rishi. Right? So now they are going to speak. Next 4 verses. 33.
Sutta uvacha iti kosharavakyatam ashrutya bhagavat katham kshatanandam param lebhe mahabhagavato dvija.
Sri Suta Goswami continued, My dear Brahmana, Shata Vidura, the great devotee of the Lord achieved transcendental bliss by hearing the narration of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the authoritative source of the sage Kosarava Maitreya, and he was very pleased.
So now, to actually explain that how Vidura was pleased, certainly it has to go one scene outside, right? So here it is Suta Goswami talking to Shonak Adi Rishi, and they say Dvijaha. Dvijaha here he is referring to, oh Brahmana, referring to Shonak Rishi. Iti, again, thus, Kausaravasa, from Maitreya, Ashrutya Bhagavad Katha. I heard, after Vidura heard this Bhagavad Katha from Maitreya, Shata, Vidura. And who was Vidura? Mahabhagavat, the great devotee. How did he feel? Lebhe Parama Anandam. Lebhe Parama Anandam. When he heard this, he was feeling the highest transcendental bliss. Parama Ananda. That's how Vidura felt, right? So Prabhupada here stresses on this point that if we want to feel that Parama Ananda, anyone who wants to derive that Parama Ananda by hearing the pastime of the Lord, first condition, it must hear from an authoritative source. A source where he has actually heard it from his guru. So first is it has to be authoritative. Second point that Prabhupada mentions is that that also Prabhupada mentions that what is the quality of the speaker? So okay. So there are 2 things here. So the question is, how can we all experience transcendental bliss? The first is what we are hearing should be authoritative. That means the speaker is a devotee of the Lord, repeating what he has heard from his guru, right? Second thing, the listener should be a devotee of the Lord. If we are not a devotee of the Lord, how will we actually relish the transcendental nectar? Right? So we have to. So as we are progressing on a sadhana bhakti, the more and more we progress in our path of bhakti, the more and more we will relish this Hari Katha. Also in the purport, Prabhupada actually quotes Sanatan Goswami, which actually Prabhupada often quotes in his lectures also. And this is found that I was looking for where can you find the actual quote. This is from Padma Purana. But Prabhupada goes many places. One place I'll say is Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-40. You can find this verse. Avaishnav Mukhodgirna, Putam Hari Kathamritam, Shavana Naiva Kartavya, Sarpochishtam Yatapaya. I said one should not hear anything about Krishna from a non-Vaishnava, as milk touched by the lips of a serpent causes poisonous effect. Similarly, talks about Krishna given by a non-Vaishnava are also poisonous. Right? So this verse Prabhupada often quotes that, many times we may hear that, oh yeah, this sadhu is saying Krishna Katha. Because even Mayavadis, they may speak Krishna Katha. Right? They'll talk about like Agaso Leela, this Leela, that Leela. But what is their final understanding? Oh yeah, you hear all this Leela so that you can come and merge into Leela, into Krishna. So we have to be so careful to make sure that we are hearing from the mouths of a devotee. Otherwise, it is poisonous. Just like milk itself is so auspicious to drink, so healthy. But if it's touched by the lips of a serpent, the whole milk becomes poisonous. So the whole Hari Katha, the entire narration, if it is coming from the lips of a Mayavadi, the whole thing becomes poisonous. Okay. Then one more, if you see in the middle of the purport.
Prabhu, the verse is from 6.
It is quoted in 6:17-40. It's not the Bhagavatam verse. What we are saying is a verse from Padma Purana that Prabhupada often quotes, but in one place, just to give you a reference, in 6:17:40, see in the purport, you'll find this verse. Avaishna Mukhodgirna, Putam Hari Katamritam, Shavana Naiva Kartavyam, Sarpotisha Yatapaya. Prabhupada, often in a lecture, you'll see one of the famous, commonly quoted verses. You have to hear from the lips of a devotee. If you hear from the lips of a Vaishnava, it is poisonous. Now here, one question for all of you. Here in the middle, if you say, it is also stated in Bhagavatam that simply by hearing from an authoritative source, with the ear and the heart, so this is the key, with the ear and the heart, one can relish the pastimes of the Lord, otherwise it is not possible. Which verse is Prabhupada referring to here? With the ear and the heart, that is the key. Because you can find similar verses, but Prabhupada is referring to one particular verse in this. Everyone see that statement in the purport? It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that simply by hearing, with the ear and the heart, one can relish the pastimes. Otherwise, it's not possible. Which verse is this? Which verse is this?
Is it Srinvata Katha Krishna?
Okay, as I said, there are many verses, but here Prabhupada is particularly referring to one verse. Clue, 3rd canto. Clue, chapter 25. Clue, text 25. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavanti rit karna. Right? The rit karna. Heart and ears. Rasayana katha. Tad josha asva apavarga vartamini. Shraddha bhaktir rathir. Shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishati. Another famous verse. Satam prasanga. Prasanga, you can get that, association, and you can feel the joy when you hear in the association of pure devotees. And then rasayana, you will actually experience that rasa.
Prabhuji, what Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3?
25. It's easy to remember. Chapter 25, text 25. Okay? Very famous verse. Even this is very frequently quoted verse. Right? So it's almost like you see the purport Prabhupada stated in Bhagavatam. You think, which verse is Prabhupada referring to? Right? He doesn't mention the verse here. But you have to see what is the key and the context, and you can find out the verse. Okay, next verse, 34. And then Prabhupada also in the purport, he quotes this, Mayavad bhase sunle hoilo sarvanash. If anyone hears Mayavad interpretation, then hoilo sarvanash, everything will be destroyed. The person is doomed. You know, how strong is those words? Even last time I made the point. Hearing from Mayavadi is taking us away from Krishna. Mayavadi, Krishna aparadhi. So how we have to be so careful from whom we are hearing. Now you go to YouTube and you can say Krishna Katha, you'll find so many people who are like Mayavadi speaking about Krishna Katha. So very, very careful who we hear. That's why you have to make sure you're hearing from a devotee of the Lord, devotee of the Lord, devotee of the Lord. Right? Otherwise, it's just taking us away from our path. 34.
Anyesham punyashlokanam udama yashasam satam apashrutya bhaven moda shrivatsankasya kim punaha.
What to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whose chest is marked with Srivatsa? People may take transcendental pleasure even in hearing of the works and deeds of the devotees, whose fame is immortal.
Say Anyesham, of others, Punya Shloka, right, of pious reputation, Udama Yashasham, the one whose fame is spread all over. And who is that? Satam, the devotees of the Lord. So what to speak of the Lord himself? When one hears about the devotees of the Lord whose fame is spread all over, one can actually experience that same transcendental pleasure. And what do we say? Actually, we experience more pleasure in hearing about devotees of the Lord than the Lord himself, because the devotees, when we hear from the devotees, we hear their prayers, their bhakti to the Lord. And finally, bhakti is the highest. Srimati Radharani is our Ishtadev. Right? So our mood is that, from hearing about devotees, we get so much pleasure. So here the verse is saying, Sutta Goswami is saying, what to speak of the Lord, even hearing about devotees of the Lord is actually, one can experience that happiness. Right? And one way, how can we separate a Bhakta and Bhagavan? Wherever we talk of Bhakta, there has to be a glorification of Bhagavan. Right? They are not like, separated. A devotee is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna, and Krishna is always absorbed in thought of devotees. So they are one way, not separable. 35.
Yogajendram jashagrastam dhyayantam charanambujam proshantinam karenunam krichato mochayat dhrutam.
Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead delivered the king of the elephants, Gajendra, who was attacked by an alligator and who meditated upon the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, the female elephants who accompanied him were crying, and the Lord saved them from the impending danger. Hare Krishna.
The previous verse is saying that if anyone hears about the pastimes of the Lord, you'll experience this transcendental pleasure. But what to talk of hearing? Even an animal, if he just remembered the Lord not only delivered him from that immediate danger, but the Lord delivered him from the material world.
Yes.
Yes. So here it says, Gajendra, the king of elephants. Jasa, when he was attacked by the alligator, Grastam, he was attacked by the alligator. What did he do? Dhyayantam charana ambujam. He meditated on the lotus feet. Actually, if you see Gajendra's prayers, it's so interesting. That when Gajendra is actually saying the prayers, he's not saying, oh, Vishnu. He's describing the qualities and saying, these are the qualities of the Lord. So who is the Lord? Please listen to my prayers. And the Lord says, okay, he doesn't know who I am, but he's saying the qualities. Actually, I have those qualities, so I will respond to his prayers. The Lord is so merciful that even Gajendra, just thinking of that, oh, there must be someone with these qualities, that superior person, whoever you are, please help me. And Lord said, okay, he's calling me, let me go. And even that remembrance, the Lord actually delivered them, not only from the crocodile, but from this material world. Right? And then it says, Krichata Amochat Dhrutam. Very quickly the Lord came and he delivered him. Right? So the point is like, it's kind of a comparison here. So if for humans, they hear the pastime, they get delivered. But what to say? Even animals, once remembrance, they'll get delivered. Right? Okay, 36.
Tam shukaradhyam rijubhir ananya sharanar nribihi kritangya ko naseveta duraradhyam asadhubihi.
Hare Krishna. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the personality of Godhead? The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. Hare Krishna.
So Duraradhyam Asadhubi. Asadhu. Those are asadhu, non-devotees, they cannot please the Lord. They cannot approach the Lord. Right? But those who are kritagya, right? What is the quality of a devotee? He's kritagya. He's grateful. Grateful for what? Grateful for everything. Who's given us oxygen to breathe? Right? Who's given us everything? Water. I am the taste of water. I am the fire of digestion in the stomach. I am the sun. I am the moon. Who's arranged all this? So just a kritagya, a grateful soul, who is a, what grateful soul would not sevate, would not render unto such a great master, who is sukha aradhyam, who is easily worshipped by rijulaha, unpretentious, and who have no other shelter other than the Lord. Right? So the verse is actually, it's like related to the previous verses. We read about, hearing, the glories of hearing, the glories of Gajendra just meditating, and here is saying, who is that grateful person who will not serve the Lord? Everyone. As soon as we realize what the Lord is doing for us, naturally we want to serve the Lord. Naturally we want to serve the Lord. So that's the point here. So Prabhupada in the purport said, every living entity, especially persons in the human race, must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the grace of the Supreme Lord. I mean, if we are a human being, we should just think, what are we receiving from the Lord? If we are receiving so much from the Lord, and if we are not grateful, then who are we? We are simply thieves, right? How in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna makes this point, Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yagya bhavita tay datan apradayai bho yo bhunti stena evasaha, right? So, who actually receives this gift but do not offer it back to Krishna, they are what? A thief. So either there are two categories. One, you're a grateful person, otherwise you're a thief. And what is bhakti? When someone can ask you, oh, you're engaging in bhakti, what is bhakti? Bhakti is our expression of gratitude to the Lord. That's it. The Lord is already doing so much for us. We are just recognizing and we are reciprocating with that love. That's it. That is bhakti. That's bhakti. Okay. Is okay this point? And then Prabhupada further in the purports, yeah. Right. So he says how we recognize how much benefit we are deriving by the arrangement of the Lord. Example, sunshine, water, fire of digestion, food, etc. Right? All this is coming from the Lord. So anyone who is grateful must be Krishna conscious, must engage in devotional service. That's proper. Right. Okay. The last two verses, these are the falshruti, the benefits of hearing this pastime. 37.
Yo vai hiranyaksha vadam mahadbhutam vikriditam karana sukaratmanaha shinoti gayat yanumodate njasa vimuchyate brahmavadhadapi dvijaha.
Hare Krishna. O Brahmanas, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in the wonderful narration of killing of Hiranyaksha demon by the Lord, who appeared as the firstborn in order to deliver the world, he is at once relieved of the results of sinful activities, even the killing of a Brahmana. Hare Krishna.
So this is a falshruti. So, whenever you read pastimes, at the end of the pastime, we have falshruti. What is the benefit or the blessing of hearing this pastime? And here it says what? Yavai, one who, shunati. Shunati means one who hears. Gayati, one who chants. Anumodati, who takes pleasure. Right? So today, what have we done for the last 2.5 hours? We have heard it, we have chanted it, we have taken pleasure. And then what does it say? Maha Adbhutam Vikridam. Of what? This most wonderful pastime of Hiranyaksha Vadam, of the killing of Hiranyaksha. Karana Sukara Atmana. For which reason the Lord actually took this form of Sukara, of a boar. Agyasa Vimuche. That person, Agyasa Vimuchate. At once he becomes freed from Api Brahmavada. We get even free from the sinful reaction of killing a Brahmana. This is the power of Srimad Bhagavatam. Imagine all the sinful actions, how many sinful actions for how many lifetimes we have committed. Just by hearing, just by chanting, just by taking pleasure, we are getting free of all sinful reactions, even the reaction of killing a Brahmana, which is the worst of all. So every Sunday, what do? We come in the morning, we are emptying our stock of sinful reactions. Actually, a devotee is not even interested in that. What are we finally interested? Every Sunday morning, come and we nourish our bhakti to Krishna. That is our goal. Sinful reaction, Krishna will take care. Whatever is there, he'll give, he'll take away. That's not our concern. Our concern is bhakti to Krishna. But how powerful is Bhagavatam? And that's why we stress so much. Just give Bhagavatam to everyone. All one's problems, all one's anxieties, all one's miseries, everything will go away just if they receive this knowledge of Bhagavatam. One pastime, just one pastime, and it has the power to wash away all our sinful reactions. This is the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada in purpose says there's no difference between the pastimes of the Lord and the personality of God. So anyone who hears these pastimes, we are directly associating with the Lord, right? And if we are associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where is the question of any sinful reaction remaining? Right? If the Lord, we are directly in the Lord's presence, how is it possible that anything negative will remain? Right? One should be very eager to hear, and one should simply give oral reception and accept the glories of the Lord. And that's it. Everything will be perfect. We don't need to worry. If we are just giving our oral reception to Srimad Bhagavatam, our whole life is blessed. Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shloka. Right? This is the most virtuous of all activities, is just to come and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That's it. Everything, all our sinful reactions of whatsoever bhakti to Krishna is increasing, and our life is becoming perfect all the way back to Godhead. Okay, last shloka, 38. Stop.
Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram dhanyam yashasyam paramayurashisham pranendriyanam yudi shoryavardhanam narayanonte gatir angashrinvatam.
The most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord. Oh dear Saunaka.
Yeah. So this is the final, again, Falashruti here, the second verse of the Falashruti. So here it says what? Etat, this narration, anyone who hears, what is it? Mahapunyam. You will get Mahapunya. You will confirm the greatest punya. Alam Pavitram, this very sacred. Then Dhanyam, wealth. Yashasam, fame. Ayuhu, longevity. Ashisham, any object one desire. Whatever you want, you can get just by hearing this pastime. Right? And what is this pastime? Yuddhi Saurya Vardhana. It increases, further, okay, it further says, it increases the strength of one who is even on a battlefield, right? And then finally, it says, Narayana Ante Gatihi. So one who actually relishes this pastime, hears this pastime, takes pleasure in this pastime, Ante Narayana Smriti. At the end of our life, we'll actually remember Narayan. And once we remember Narayan, we'll go back to Narayan. Right? So this is the benefit, the power of Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada says in the purport, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow everything one may desire. Innumerable benefits such as wealth, fame, longevity, other desirable items. If one continues to hear Bhagavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of his life, one is sure, Prabhupada is saying, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for all, as long as they are in the material world. So even here in the material world, we are benefited, and also in the spiritual world, we'll go back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Is there anyone remembers one more shloka, which is exactly this? One who hears the pastimes of the Lord at the end of his life. So it is na uttama shloka vartanam dushatam yat kathamritam. What's the third line? Some words, sambropi antakalepi. And basically it says, that verse says, I'll find the shloka. 1 minute. This is in 1:8, I think. The last chapter of the first canto. Yeah, 118.4. 118.4. Na uttama shloka vartanam jushatam tat kathamritam syat sambhravo antekalepi smaratam tat padhambujam. And says that those who actually hears these transcendental topics of the Lord, then and constantly na uttama shloka vartanam jushtam tat kathamritam and smaratam tat, and constantly because of this they are remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. Set sambromo antakalepi. Then at the time of death, they do not run the risk of having any misconceptions or any form of doubt. You know? So anyone who absorbs his mind in Krishna Katha at the end of his life is sure to go back home, back to God. So 118.4 is a reference of the statement that Prabhupada is actually making here. Okay, and then Prabhupada concludes and says, like, 5 items of devotional service. So beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Bhagavatam. That's it. How does bhakti start? Shravanam. Just listen to Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends 5 items. Vaishnav Seva, serving the devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, worshipping Diti, and going to Vrindavan. That's it. You perform all these 5, our life is perfect. Okay, that concludes chapter number 19. So, next chapter, chapter 20, conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, is like one way, kind of a summary of, because how come we discussed all this Hiranyaksha, Varahadev, all these Leela? Because we're talking of creation, right? The focus of third canto is on creation. And then after Swayambhuva Manu was created by Brahma, then Swayambhuva Manu was like, okay, I will create progeny, but where is the earth? The earth is below. So you please pick up the earth and then I'll continue my seva. And then Brahma said, even I can't do that. Hari can do that. And then his from his nostril, Vishnu appeared. And then we read of Varaha. But that was which Varaha? Shweta Varaha. But when he was talking, Maitreya Rishi was talking of Shweta Varaha, then he mentioned, also Nila Varaha is there. There's another Varaha. Right? And then when he mentioned Nila Varaha, then immediately Vidura. No, stop. Before he continue, let's talk of Nila Varaha. Who is Hiranyaksha? So imagine how many chapters we have, starting from chapter 14, when Brahma starts the whole narration, right? So up to this chapter is all like a kind of a tangent from our main line, right? 6, 7 chapters is just a tangent. And then he says, okay, you have to explain about Hiranyaksha. First, I have to explain about Jaya Vijay story. I have to explain about 4 Kumaras. For that, I have to explain how the spiritual world looks like. They explain how spiritual world looks like. Then he explains Jaya Vijay, then the whole pastime. Then Hiranyaksha, how he comes. Then he has to explain like how he takes birth. So Diti, he had to explain how she had to approach Kashyap. She approached Kashyap Muni at wrong time. Then Hiranyaksha born. Then how Hiranyaksha is so powerful. Then Varahadev. So all that, the whole Leela came. 7 chapters. Now again we'll continue back with our main line. And then the flowing is, we are going to continue about the children of Swayambhuva Manu. And the first focus will be Devahuti. So towards the end of the 3rd canto, our main line, almost from after this chapter till the end, is Devahuti Kapila Dev, Kardamuni. That's our theme of the 3rd canto. Okay, so stop here. Any final comments, questions, realizations?
Prabhuji, I like that you said that bhakti is a life of gratitude. And also we read that the real purpose of life is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna.
Thank you. Bhakti, a life of gratitude. Okay. Any other points, anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was also very impressed with that the definition of bhakti is expression of our gratitude to our Lord. And everyone should be grateful for all the benefits that we are receiving from the Lord. And also I wanted to bring up one point, the Sattam Prasanga Mamavirya Samhita. It's the first Bhagavatam verse I heard from the lips of Bhakti Charu Swami in New Vrindavan. I can never forget that. It was such a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Anyone else? Final points?
Yeah, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think I was contemplating on with our senses how to give the pleasure to the master of senses, right? And also talking about the purified senses, how we can offer that, and how to express the gratitude to the Lord.
Well, thank you. Nice points, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah, senses are right now, we are in the process of purifying our senses, right? And that's why we are engaging sadhana bhakti. And when it purifies senses, then we can engage in Uttama Bhakti. So nice. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Anyone?
Prabhuji, I have two questions. Sorry. Go ahead,
Go
Mataji.
ahead, Mataji, go ahead.
I have two questions, and both are like one is the Elephant King Gajendra. I think in coming cantos there probably is a story of who became Gajendra, but my question was maybe it'll be touched during that canto. But so he only got like selected memory, like you said that he didn't know who that powerful personality was, but then he just knew the quality. So maybe it'll be touched on during that
Yeah, he
canto
was
session.
actually Indradana king before, actually. He was nice devotee. But then, due to some incident, he became Gajendra. And then when Gajendra was in difficulty, actually the Lord reminded him of those prayers. So it was actually the Lord giving him that intelligence in his heart to chant those prayers. And then the Lord himself came. Right? One way it is like... like the Lord himself is actually reminding him of prayers, and then he chanted those prayers. But at that time when he's chanting those prayers, because he's in a mood of distress, because his focus is more on like, okay, this alligator, this crocodile is right here. I want to get rid of it. So that though that remembrance came, but it didn't come in the pure way because he was approaching the Lord with a distress in mind.
Distress.
Not out of pure bhakti. So, but the Lord reciprocated in a way that he came and then he blessed him with the pure bhakti. So, that's
And the second question was, maybe this is a silly one, but why the boar incarnation? And what was the boon that Hiranyaksha got from Brahma, that the Lord had to take the form of a boar?
So one thing is boar is actually there because when the earth was down in the lower waters, it is said that, who goes into the lower waters to pick up something? Like a pig or a boar, So that's why one definition is given that the boar actually is given because he had to go down into the lower waters to pick up the earth. The second is when the boon that Hiranyaksha got from Brahma, it was kind of similar to Hiranyakashipu's boon, but here he actually he got the boon of, he was asking again for immortality. And then Brahma actually said, okay, I cannot give immortality. You ask something else. And then he said, okay, I don't want to be killed by humans or animals. And then he actually said, okay, which animal? And then Hiranyaksha said he listed few animals, but he did not mention a boar because he's thinking like, how will a boar kill me? How can a boar or a pig actually kill me? So hence he did not mention that, and the Lord actually appeared in that particular form to even keep Brahma's vow. So it's a kind of...
Okay. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now I was thinking maybe that is why the Lord had to take a new form of a animal form, because probably that was one of the animals that Hiranyaksha didn't know about because it was not yet created.
I mean,
maybe okay.
Oh, that's another point that we say that maybe it was not created, but we can say that he thought it so insignificant that he didn't mention it. So either both the explanations could be valid. That, oh yeah, there was no boar before, and then, so yeah. Right. So it's similar to the Hiranyakashipu, that to fulfill Brahma's vow, he appeared as Narsimhadev. So similarly here, to keep Brahma's blessing, he appeared as Varaha. So both the reasons are there. One is to pick up the earth. Second is to keep Brahma's benedictions.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Which verse you said, hearing Bhagavatam from atheists or non-devotees, like drinking poison? You gave one reference from Bhagavatam, Canto 6, I think.
Yeah, so it's not a Bhagavatam shloka, as I mentioned. It is quoted in the purport of this verse. It is from Padma Purana. It is from 6:17:40. I mean, that's just one reference. I wanted to find a place where it is mentioned so you all can actually go and find that shloka. So just see in the purport of 6:17:40, and there Prabhupada mentioned. But in the lectures, if you just search on Vedabase, How many times Prabhupada quotes this verse in lecture? Vaishnava Mukhodgina Putam Hari Kathamritam. It's like again and again Prabhupada is mentioning this. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I really like the point that how we cannot separate the Lord and his devotees. When we hear about the devotees, we come to know how they pray to the Lord. And that's why Srimati Radharani is our Ishtadev, because she is the greatest devotee.
Thank you for the nice point. I mean, like, our mood is like Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, more than the devotee, more than the Lord, who's the emphasis on? Right? Particularly Narasimha Dev is a perfect example that in the entire 7th canto, right? The emphasis is on Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, again and again we hear. As soon as we hear Prahlad Maharaj, then all these qualities are explained. And then the whole story of Prahlad Maharaj, his prayers to the Lord. If you see Narasimha's appearance, one chapter in the entire section. But the emphasis is more on Prahlad rather than Narasimha. But if you see in the other Puranas, I've not read it, but they say emphasis is more on Narasimha rather than on Prahlad. In Bhagavatam, we are actually relishing the bhakti of these devotees. Thank you.
Prabhu, I just wanted to, this is coming to my mind, I'm not sure, but you know how the Lord takes, whatever form he takes, he always has a parental somebody, say like how in case of course, we know Krishna, Rama and all the Purush, like human-like pastimes, but you see in Varahadev, also he comes from the nose of Brahmaji. So like, you know, when we see the prayers of Brahmaji, he's like a very affectionate, like he's scared of, you know, what's going to happen, you know. It's just like as if his own son. In case of Narasimhadev, he appeared from the pillar. Pillar is his parent. You know, so I was just thinking how Krishna, he wants to relish, like when Brahma Vimohan Leela happens, he is the son of every single Brajvasi. You know, infinite universe is there in the Braj. He is with everyone. You know, how important for him is to be having parents.
That's a good point about, like, you know, also in one of the verses we read the word Akshaja. Akshaja means one who appeared from the nose, right? He appeared from Brahmaji, right? So that's a nice point, that because he appeared from Brahma, he was actually, Brahma had that mood of care, and hence he said, oh, kill him soon, otherwise auspicious time will go away. So that mood is there. That's a nice point. Thank you. Okay, so thank you all so much. We'll end here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyo Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you all so much for your association. Thank you for joining. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Varahadev ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Dhanavad.